Today's KSVIP is Jimmy Smith. Jimmy owns Artesia Plumbing and Heating, and tomorrow is Jimmy's birthday. Happy birthday! We hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. Today, Jimmy, you're going to receive a flower from Lovebud Floral and KSVP. Today's KSVIP, Jimmy Smith.
They see me mowing my front lawn. I know they're all thinking I'm so wide and nerdy. Think I'm just too wide and nerdy. Think I'm just too wide and nerdy. Can't you see I'm white and nerdy? Look at me, I'm white and nerdy. I wanna roll with the gangsters, but so far they all think I'm too wide and nerdy. Think I'm just too wide and nerdy. Think I'm just too wide and nerdy. I'm just too wide and nerdy. Really, really wide and nerdy.
Class there at MIT, got skills, I'm a champion of D&D. MC Escher, that's my favorite MC. Keep your 40 out, just have an Earl Grey tea. My rims never spin, to the contrary. You'll find that they're quite stationary. All of my action figures are cherry. Stephen Hawking's in my library. My MySpace page is all totally pimped out. Got people begging for my top 8 spaces. Yo, I know pie to 1,000 places. Ain't got no grills, but I still wear braces. I order all of my sandwiches with mayonnaise. I'm a whiz, a minesweeper, I can play for days. Once you see my sweet moves, you're gonna stay amazed. My fingers moving so fast, I'll set the place ablaze. There's no killer rap I haven't run. At Pascal, well, I'm number 1. Do vector calculus just for fun. I ain't got a gap, but I got a soldering gun. Happy Days is my favorite theme song. I can sure kick your butt in a game of ping pong. I'll ace any trivia quiz you bring on. I'm fluent in JavaScript as well as Klingon. Here's the part I sing on.
See me roll on my Segway. I know in my heart they think I'm wide and nerdy. Think I'm just too wide and nerdy. Think I'm just too wide and nerdy. Can't you see I'm white and nerdy? Look at me, I'm white and nerdy. I like to roll with the gangsters, although it's apparent I'm too wide and nerdy. Think I'm just too wide and nerdy. Think I'm just too wide and nerdy. I'm just too wide and nerdy. How'd I get so wide and nerdy?
I've been browsing, inspecting X-Men comics, you know I collect them. The pens in my pocket, I must protect them. My ergonomic keyboard never leaves me bored. Shopping online for deals on some writable media. I edit Wikipedia. I memorize Holy Grail really well. I can recite it right now and have you ROTFLOL. I got a business doing websites. While friends need some code, who do they call? I do HTML for them all. Even made a homepage for my dog. Yo, I got myself a fanny pack. They were having a sale down at the Gap. Spend my nights with a roll-up bubble wrap. Pop, pop, hope no one sees me getting freaky.
I'm nerdy in the extreme and whiter than sour cream.
I was in a V Club and Glee Club and even the chess team. Only question I ever thought was hard, what do I like, Kirk or do I like Picard?
Spend every weekend at the Renaissance Fair. Got my name on my underwear. They see me strolling, they laughing and rolling their eyes cause I'm so wide and nerdy. Just because I'm white and nerdy. Just because I'm white and nerdy. All because I'm white and nerdy. Holy cow, I'm white and nerdy. I wanna bowl with the gangsters, but oh well, it's obvious I'm wide and nerdy. Think I'm just too wide and nerdy. Think I'm just too wide and nerdy.
Well, good morning, Artesia. This is Joby Hodling here this morning as Gene and Lana are out of...
It will be good to have that review for the...
Well, it sounds like I've got
open to any result, but are not...
something else on with me, and I'm going to get Jeff to help me. Good morning, Artesia. Let me see if we can figure out... got some stuff in the background there, Jeff.
So-called January 6th probe at the Department of Justice because...
All right, so now maybe that fixed it. I don't know. Going to ask everybody out there to bear with me on the Good Morning Artesia show. My first time to be stepping in for Gene Dow as he and Lana are with Lana's mother, Eunice, facing an illness this weekend, and they're out of town with her at the hospital. So I want to just first off say we're praying for her and Gene and Lana as well, and hope that they come back safely from being at a hospital. So remember them as you think about your prayer life this week. But this is my first time to be here on Good Morning Artesia in terms of where I'm sitting, where Gene Dow normally sits. I get to come in on Monday mornings and talk about fishing, as some of you may know, but first time to be here in Gene's chair, and you know, it could be, I think, a little bit intimidating because you've got a 3-hour show here that Gene does an exceptional job on every single day. He gets a lot of great information out there to the city of Artesia and anybody in the world that's listening and or watching. Get to have a lot of guests on during the course of any given week And today is no different. We're going to have, in the 8 o'clock hour, we're going to have Chamber Chat with Jessica Bolema and Coxie Maupin. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, Aaron Irving, who's always on every day with the market reports. And I always get a kick out of Gene and Aaron because they have jokes usually. And so I'm going to have to find some jokes because Aaron always has a great bunch of jokes, as does Gene. And so hopefully I'll have a few to go along with Aaron this morning. I've got a lot of stuff I'm going to talk about here in the 7 o'clock hour, things that I think most people like, one of them being Artesia sports. And so we'll talk a little bit about what's going on in Artesia High School and the sports that we've got going on this week and how the seasons are going for the various sports teams at the high school. We're also going to talk a little bit about last night. Now, the NFL is something that over the last few years I have gotten less and less in tune with. There's been things that I don't like that the NFL has been part of and have aggravated me, and so I've gotten away from the NFL a little bit. But you know, I turned it on last night. It was Monday Night Football. It was the first Monday Night Football of the year, and it was a good matchup. And I probably watched about 45 seconds of it there in the first half, and then we had other things going on a Monday night. But then at the end, after we got back home, Pam and I, my wife, and from doing what we were doing on a Monday night, I turned the TV back on just for a minute to see what happened, and the game was already over. It was a little after 9 o'clock, and pretty interesting end to that game. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that this morning as well. NFL football and all that entails. NFL, you know, there's a lot of pro leagues, but the NFL is kind of the gold standard amongst the professional sports leagues. And last night's game was, I didn't watch it, but I know I saw some highlights and I saw how the game ended. And I want to talk about that. I'm going to think about what went down there with the coach, with how that game ended. And so to me, it was pretty interesting and a lot of talk after the game. And I know out there on social media and all the armchair quarterbacks discussing what happened and what they would have done. And so we'll talk a little bit about that as well. Again, Joby Hodling here with Good Morning Artesia. I want to thank you for tuning in as you do each and every day, and hopefully I can fill in for Gene in enough of a satisfactory way that you get some things out of it and enjoy the day here on this Tuesday morning. One of the other things I really like about what Gene does is he has the Pledge of Allegiance and then, of course, the National Anthem. Both the pledge led by some students from Artesia High School, and then the National Anthem played on the trumpet, and that's pretty cool to me. I mean, we live in a society today that there are folks out there that don't like that, but I do. I think it's important as a country that we honor our flag and honor those that have died defending it and those that are still defending it today, and also our national anthem. Because to me, that's pretty important. All right, so I think what I'm going to do now is take a break. We're going to get the weather and some commercials, and then we'll come back, talk about the local weather as well. So stay tuned right here on KSVP Radio, and of course we're streaming out there on our Facebook page. And if you're watching that, you already know that, but stay tuned. We're going to have the weather coming up next.
Well, Kerry Lake is out with a video calling on the Democrat there. Kerry Lake's going to win that race. Kerry Lake is, because Katie Hobbs is not going to win the spelling bee at any point. Cut number 9, this is GOP nominee Kerry Lake on Katie Hobbs, Democrat, not debating. Cut number 9.
For the first time in the history of our state, there will be no clean elections gubernatorial debate. Bucking state tradition, my opponent, Katie Hobbs, has made it official.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty warm today. We'll be in the upper 80s and low 90s across eastern New Mexico. And we do have just enough moist air for an afternoon shower or thunderstorm. Otherwise, we'll get a mix of sunshine and clouds. Scattered showers and a few thunderstorms for the overnight hours. Our low dropping to about 65. And then we have a chance of afternoon thunderstorms again on Wednesday, mid-80s. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
All right, you heard there from Steve Hamilton as he brought the weather. Again, I'm trying to figure this stuff out here, and Jeffrey Curtis is helping me, as he does with Gene every single day. But I think we got it figured out how to get from what was going on there to our live show now. So you should be hearing me okay. And that weather, Jeff's got up on the screen here for me some temperatures. I guess it's the high temperatures around our part of the state. So in Hobbs today, going to be up 90 degrees is the projected high. The same in Roswell. Roswell is some partly cloudy skies, it shows. Carlsbad at 92. And of course here in Artesia with, looks like we're going to have partly cloudy skies and a high of 91. The Artesia, I call it the Artesia Triangle. It seems like the weather goes around us. To me, it seems like that happens every year, but we have had some rain this year, as everybody knows, so that's been good. All right, so we're going to take a break, and then we'll come back here on Good Morning Artesia. We thank you for tuning in. We'll be right back.
When I was young, I thought I had forever to prepare for retirement. But as the years went by, retirement got closer and closer. And, well, I wish I'd have started saving 10 years earlier.
How you spend your retirement depends on what you do now while you're still working. We've helped a lot of area seniors prepare for retirement. Stop in and see us about saving for yours. Western Bank of Artesia. We're big on you. Member FDIC.
The Yucca Blossom Summer's End Extravaganza is fun for the whole family. They have 90-plus booths to shop, a variety of food trucks to fill your belly, and an array of amusing activities for the kiddos, including face painting, bouncy houses, rock climbing, quad power jump, and live music from the County Line Band. Mark your calendars for Saturday, September 17th from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. and Sunday, September 18th from 11 a.m. till 4 p.m. at the Eddy County Fairgrounds in Artesia.
You've changed thousands of diapers, cut off hundreds of crusts, played hours of peekaboo and duck, duck, goose. But you'd do anything for your kids. That's why it's so important to protect them with life insurance from State Farm. State Farm agent Sandy Stockton will help make it easy and affordable to help you protect your family, no matter what the future holds. Because for the people you'd do anything for, life insurance could mean everything. Call State Farm agent Sandy Stockton in Artesia today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Good morning, this is Smiley Wooten at Roswell Livestock Auction. 658 head of cattle sold on Monday on a steady to uneven market with excellent buyer attendance compared to last week, and buyers also beginning to pay attention to long-time weaned and unweaned fleshy calves. Stocker calf steers steady to 5 higher, heifers steady to 5 lower, feeder cattle 2 to 3 higher, packer cows and bulls sold steady, 3 to 400 pound steers 220, 230. 3 to 400 pound heifers 180, 182, 4 to 500 pound steers 219, 230, 4 to 500 pound heifers 173, 50 to 180, 5 to 600 pound steers 176, 219, 5 to 600 pound heifers 163, 173, 50, 6 700 pound steers 168, 176, 6 to 700 pound heifers 161, 163, 7 800 pound steers 159, 168, 7 800 pound heifers 143, 161. Packer cows 84 to 92 and a half. Canner and cutter cows 72 to 82. Packer bulls $1 to 107. Feeder bulls 70 to 80. The top half the cow calf pairs $1,125 to $1,375 per pair. Top half the bred cows $1,000 to $1,260 per head. We do appreciate the business, and we'll talk to you next Monday morning. This is Smiley Wooten, Roswell Livestock Auction.
Well, welcome back here to KSVP Radio, AM 990, FM 93.7. Of course, out there in social media land on Facebook. Thanks for tuning in here. Joe be hodling here in place of Gene Dow as he's with family today and the next, possibly the next couple, 3-4 days. And so I'll try to do my best to stand in for Gene and talk about everything Artesia, everything Pecos Valley, all the stuff that we've got going on here. And while Gene is out, again, coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, we have Chamber Chat. We'll talk to Jessica Bolema and Coxie Maupin and see what's going on with the Artesia Chamber of Commerce. Then in the 9 o'clock hour, we'll have the market reports and hopefully some good jokes from Aaron Irving or some good stories. He always has some good stuff to go along with what Gene has. And it's, like I said, I get a kick out of them every time I listen, which is pretty much every day. I get to hear the morning show as I'm going through my mornings, usually running errands here in town and going to various job sites, things that I'm involved in. But I always get a kick out of those two. And on Mondays specifically, when I'm coming down to the radio station, my little Pecos Valley Bassmaster segment is the last thing that Gene does on the Good Morning Artesia show on Mondays. And so I head down here and usually get to hear all or at least a good piece of Aaron and Gene talking and visiting. And so I get a kick out of those guys. As you know, that all of you faithful listeners know, they have some great stuff every day, really. But I really listen to them on Monday mornings more than any other day. There's a lot of things going on. I told you we're going to talk about some NFL football. We're going to talk about Bulldog sports and what's coming up this week. I was listening early this morning to the radio here, and I know that inflation is up. If you're alive and you have to buy food or buy gas or basically buy anything anywhere here in the United States, you know that you can feel that inflation. There's a lot of people that say, well, I don't really understand inflation, but it's pretty simple. When prices go up on things across the board, you've got inflation going on. And what I heard this morning is food increased 13.5% year over year. So a year ago, it was 13.5% cheaper to buy food at the supermarket. And so that's a big deal. I mean, that's a lot of money is just normal families. We try to budget. We try to set, because probably most people didn't get a 13.5% raise at their job year over year. That's a pretty big raise. And if you did, that's awesome. But a lot of times that's not the case. And so when we see increases like that on things that we buy and yet our income doesn't increase, that becomes a big problem in most people's lives. And so as I heard the Hewitt show this morning, he was really talking about that and talking about where he assesses the blame, where he puts the blame on those kind of things. The other thing that he pointed out, and I know everybody can feel this, and we're out here in the oil country, and so it's kind of like a double-edged sword. But our gas prices, even though I think they're down almost $1 from a year ago, they're still up $2 from before President Biden took office. So, for better or worse, the president, whoever the sitting president in, gets blamed or gets credit for a lot of things, and this is one of those things that inflation, gas prices, these are the things that a lot of people look at the president and say it's either his fault or it's to his credit, whatever we're feeling. I don't know if that's exactly 100% fair, but the president does set the tone for most things going on in our country, and what the Congress does and what the president does has an effect. And so we've definitely been feeling that. But 13.5%. I knew prices were up. I mean, when we go to the grocery store, I can definitely feel it, and it seems like they're way, way, way up, even more to me than 13.5%. But 13.5% is considerable, especially if you didn't get a raise like that. And so we may visit a little bit more about that and the cost of gas. And I said it was a double-edged sword because of where we live. we're out here in oil and gas country, and it's a good thing that we've got that as one of our leading economy items that a lot of our men and women in our country work in the oil and gas industry, and so when prices are good, the production is up, that's a good thing for our local economy. But nationally, it has a really big effect when gas prices are up as much as they are on just the normal person that has to put gas in their car to get to work and get around town and those things. And so we may talk a little bit more about that. Of course, we got all things Bulldogs, a lot of happenings going on in Artesia sports, and so we'll visit a bit about that as well. One of the biggest items that you're going to hear from me a lot as I sit here in Gene's place for the next day or two or however long he needs me to is that I'm new at this, so bear with me as I try to get through these hours with all of our breaks and knowing when to do certain things. Gene, of course, left me a very detailed schedule, but as I was looking at it before we came on air and talking to Jeffrey about it, and it's because I'm a little bit slow on the uptake, I think, I look at it and I think, okay, I still don't quite understand it. And, you know, it's radio stuff, and over the last few years I've gotten to be to have the opportunity of, I think it's been 7 years now that I've been able to call Bulldog Sports here on the radio and on KSVPTV.com and all the social media pages. But so I've learned a lot about how radio works and how to manage the computer and get the ads going and all that stuff, but I'm still intimidated by it. And this morning and over the next couple of days, however long I need to be here for Gene, I'm going to be intimidated by it. So bear with me as we go through these hours this morning and the rest of this week until Gene is back. And just know that there's a lot to this. I'm always just blown away by Gene and how he handles everything so smoothly and so gracefully. And I guess it's like a lot of things. We don't realize unless you're directly involved with whatever it is, and we'll just call, in this case, it is running a radio station, managing not only the things that go on behind the scenes, but also managing all the shows that happen and these live shows such as our Good Morning Artesia, and then, of course, sporting events and KSVP Radio and Pecos Valley Broadcasting, and which is basically synonymous with Gene Dow, manages those things so superbly that a lot of times I think people, we just think it's real simple. It's not. There's a lot to it and a lot of things going on. The other thing I'm going to talk about a little bit this morning that is I don't know if it's a hot topic for you in your daily life, but I think it might be, even though we don't realize it or say, well, it's a hot topic, but social media and the grasp that it has on most people. I think for the most part, now I know some folks that absolutely have nothing to do with social media, but they're in the minority. And and so as I talk about social media, I use Facebook, and pretty much that's the only one that I use. I don't use Twitter much. I don't use Instagram and all the others. But what I do know is that there's a pretty big divide amongst people about social media, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that this morning and kind of get our thoughts running on what it does, how it affects us, you know, what it can be, what it both negative and positive. And so we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But for now, let's go ahead and get the Pecos Valley news update and a couple of commercials. Kim Commando's coming up as well, the Eddy County Sports Report, and then we'll be back after that.
Now for a Pecos Valley news update. I'm Jared Zarello. A woman who was reportedly kidnapped from a casino in Hobbs last weekend has been found in Carlsbad. Hobbs police issued a statement that said officers responded to Zia Park Hotel and Casino for a reported kidnapping. They determined that a woman named Erica Martinez had been forced into a silver Chrysler 300 by a man named Jonathan Zaragoza. Both the man and the woman were found in Carlsbad late Saturday night, and both are in good shape. Police said criminal charges against Zaragoza were pending. The state's green chili season is in full swing as the aroma of fresh roasted peppers permeates the air. But growers and exporters in Mexico are just as busy, and that's causing a crunch at the international border. Authorities said Monday the agricultural inspectors with U.S. Customs have been processing dozens of chili imports every day at the port of entry in Columbus, New Mexico. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello reporting.
What's in a name? A reputation to bring you service and quality. What's in a name?
At Lowell's Pharmacy, we're ready with your flu shot. Flu shots prevent millions of illnesses and flu-related doctor's visits every year. Getting the flu shot has been shown to reduce the risk of having to go to the doctor with flu by 40 to 60%. So take time to visit Lowell's Pharmacy in Artesia and get your flu shot.
It's time for the Eddy County Sports Report. Got some soccer action going on tonight. Eddy County rivalry style. Artesia will be playing at Carlsbad in boys soccer. That starts at 6 o'clock tonight. Did you know the Artesia boys are 8-3 overall? Carlsbad's 5-5-1. Artesia last played on Saturday, defeating Clovis 2-1. Carlsbad 0-2-1 in its last three, lost 2-1 to Lovington also on Saturday. Meanwhile, the Carlsbad girls are also 0-2-1 in their last three. That's something the Cave girls aren't used to. They are 5-2-3 overall and will be playing at Artesia, which is 5-6, maybe 6-6 overall. We're a little confused by some of the results. Artesia defeated Santa Teresa 2-1 on Saturday. Carlsbad tied Hobbs on Saturday after losing to Piedra Vista and Los Alamos Thursday and Friday. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at KSVP Radio, AM 990.
At the moment of the passing of Queen Elizabeth, Wikipedia was outdated and incorrect, but not for long. Behind the scenes, a small dedicated group sprang into action. Meet Wikipedia's Deaditors. I'm Kim Commando, brought to you by T-Mobile. Their advanced network now goes farther than ever before. Visit T-Mobile.com/55 today. A Deaditor quickly updates death information on anyone listed in Wikipedia. The death is not only noted, words throughout the entire Wikipedia entry must also be made past tense. In the case of Elizabeth, volunteer Deaditors were working on the Queen's page all day. There were 284 edits in all. One of the major debates, which picture to use? The last public photo was Elizabeth meeting the new Prime Minister, or a photo of her at 25 when she was crowned Queen. Eventually, a photo from 1959 was chosen, showing a very regal Queen in full formal wear. It was handled accurately and tastefully. Get more tech news with my daily podcast called Kim Commando Today.
Here's a question. Is there anything that matters more than the safety of you and your loved ones? Of course not. So isn't it strange that not all home security companies truly put you first? Old school home security companies set you up with outdated technology, overcharge you for service, and lock you into binding multi-year contracts. That's why I use and trust SimpliSafe Home Security. SimpliSafe protects you with cutting-edge security technology, powered by 24/7 professional monitoring agents who always have your back. SimpliSafe blankets your home in protection with advanced sensors for every room, window, and door. Their monitoring experts use proprietary advanced response technology to visually confirm when a break-in is real. Customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplysafekim.com. Go today and claim a free indoor security camera plus 20% off with interactive monitoring. That's simplysafekim.com. Once again, that address, simplysafekim.com.
Welcome back here to the Good Morning Artesia show. We're going to have a lot coming up here in a few moments, but first thing I want to do is talk about Turpinning and Son. And today's obituaries, we do have one today. At Turpinning and Son Mortuary, we take pride in providing families with the best service possible. We are here for you in all times. Let Turpinning and Son coordinate the perfect service for a life well lived. We make it personal. Is not just a tagline. It's the way we conduct ourselves every day and as we honor the families we serve. Located in Artesia, serving our community and your family. 611 West Grand. Visit artesiafunerals.com and on Facebook, Turpinning and Son Mortuary. And we do have an obituary this morning. Roman Gabriel Barrera has passed away at the age of 41. He was born February 26, 1981, and passed away September 7th, 2022. His funeral service is this coming Friday, September 16th at 11 a.m. at the House of Worship in Artesia. He is from Artesia, but was living in Albuquerque. Roman Gabriel Barrera. And Rudy Melendez will officiate the services. Burial will follow at Woodbine Cemetery. Again, he was born February 26, 1981, here in Artesia, the son of Lionel H. Barrera and Velma Olguin. So that's our obituary for the day. Roman Gabriel Barrera, and passed away at a young age, 41 years old. And of course, life and death, that's two things that we know about, and death is a for sure thing, and we don't ever know when that's going to happen, but it does happen to all of us. It will at some point. And so thinking about his family and those that he left behind, Roman Gabriel Barrera. All right, so I told you we were going to talk about, I thought about it during the break with Kim Commando. I thought, maybe this is the time to come in and talk about social media and kind of the, my thoughts on it, get your juices going maybe. I know this isn't a call-in radio show, so you're not going to be able to call in and tell me I'm wrong or I'm right or you agree or you disagree, but social media, to me, over the years, I remember back, I guess it's been 12 years or so ago, and I don't remember exactly when Facebook became a big deal. I think it was in the early or middle or late 2000s, but I just remember I wasn't a part of it when it was first starting, and I used to think how dumb it was, and I didn't want to be a part of it, and it's the same thing with texting. I remember texting and how that was when that was coming out, and I thought, why don't I just call people and talk to them? That's what we were used to. But texting is such a fantastic tool because it allows you to not interrupt somebody with a conversation. You can just shoot them a quick text, and then when they have a moment, they can read it, they can respond if they need to, or not. But so it's a tool. That's what texting is, and I figured that out. Even though it took me a minute to figure it out, I figured out that it's a tool. Now that's the same thing with social media, and I've had a lot of conversations, and I've had a lot of people give me their thoughts on social media, and I'm going to talk specifically about Facebook because it's the one that I probably use the most. Well, not probably, I do use it the most. So I'm going to talk about Facebook, and Facebook is like in and of itself its own country. It's there's over 1 billion people that are on Facebook on a daily basis, and a lot of them on it hourly or even minute to minute. And so there's some things that I wanted to talk about social media this morning that and specifically Facebook, both the negative side or what can be considered negative, and then what I think are some positive sides of Facebook. So first thing, and Jeffrey has come up here to the studio. So Jeffrey, I guess I'm going to let you give your quick take on social media, your thoughts on, and we'll talk specifically about Facebook, but what do you think about Facebook?
It has changed in the past 20 years since when I first got Facebook, you had to have a college email address. You could only sign up for Facebook if you had a .edu.
See, there's something I didn't know. I had no idea that was the case.
Because that's originally what he started it for, was at Stanford or some, for the college kids it was a social network for people in university. Then he took it into everyone, and it really overtook the other social media that was kind of the beginning of MySpace. And Facebook replaced MySpace, but it became more of a guide of the people running Facebook. The algorithms are super powerful, and they can adjust things to make you see what you want to see or what they want you to see, not what people are necessarily sharing. And so there's a good business aspect for advertising, just like Google. That's where they've made their money. And they can curtail things just for you based on what you look at, not just on Facebook, but on every other site you're looking at on your computer. so that they can really know exactly who you are, what you want, and what they want you to know.
And they being the powers that be in Facebook, they being Big Brother, if you will, the book 1984, Big Brother's always watching. And I don't know if this is true or not, Jeffrey, and maybe you know, or maybe you can give some insight on this, but it seems like that you can just be talking about something. You don't actually have to search for it on your phone. You can just be talking about it. And then ads start appearing from what you were talking about. Now, is that just a conspiracy theory, or is that really true? Do our phones hear us? Right now, we're talking, and my phone is sitting right there.
Yeah.
Now, it shows to be off because my screen is black, but it's not off. I mean, it's on. So are these things tracking devices? Are they tracking us on everything we say? You got your phone in your hand. Is they, meaning whoever the powers that be, are they listening to our very conversation right now, or is that just in my brain?
Did you read the user agreement when you signed up for?
See, I'm sure I did not.
Right.
So does it say in there that, hey, we're listening?
I honestly have no idea, but it does say that that you agree to let them do anything unless you go in and turn your location services off, turn the ability for it to use your microphone. You have to, when you sign up, you give each app a lot of powers over your phone if you're not careful.
Well, and so, that's where I was going with this, is that we've got this powerful tool. You're holding yours. Mine is sitting in front of me here on the desk here at Good Morning Artesia. We've got this powerful tool that can allow us to have basically the world at our fingertips. We can look up things so quickly. We can figure out answers to questions just within seconds. We don't have to go find books, or we don't have to go talk to other people even, which is one of the things I'm going to talk about, Facebook specifically, but really any social media can do this. I'm going to talk about that here in just a minute, about how it can actually take you away from interaction with live people, in terms of like we're doing now, sitting here talking together. But in any case, I'm one of those. Over the last 2 or 3 years, I think that our political climate and things that have happened in the United States has turned me into a true blue conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to think that my phone actually hears me talking and then puts stuff in front of me that what I'm talking about. I don't know if
that's happened too often
to not believe that it's true.
I don't know anyone who can say that's never happened to me.
Yeah. Well, and so here's the thing. I said this earlier. I know several people that never use social media. Literally, they don't look at it. They don't think about it. They don't have a Facebook page. And I think there's something to be said about that. Now, the flip side, and the reason they don't is because they say, for example, well, I don't want to be tracked that way.
Right.
Because they believe that what they've read and heard and other people have said, like you and I are talking about, that, man, I just talk about cheeseburgers and then 10 ads come up about cheeseburgers or whatever. But in my case, fishing, I talk about fishing, and then all of a sudden I get all these fishing ads. And so the folks that I talk to that have zero to do with social media, nothing. They don't look at it. They don't have a page in anywhere. That's one of their things. The other things that they say about it is that there's so much stuff out there that is so negative that people get into fights. They argue on social media. There's all kinds of negativity out there. The third thing I hear is that, well, it's a time zapper, that people end up just sitting on their phone, looking down at their phone or maybe their computer screen or whatever, and before they know it, the 2 hours has gone by.
Yeah.
And I'm a big proponent of time management, even though I probably don't do a very good job of it. I think about it constantly because of my daily life and the things that I try to accomplish every day and the things that I like to do. And I've got to make the old thing, I got to make time for these things that I like to do. We don't ever make time. I mean, time is there.
Right.
We all get 168 hours in a week. We can't make 169. I mean, sometimes I wished I could make 185, but I can't. You can't. But when we say make time, we're talking about taking the time to do it, whatever it is that we say we need to make time for. Well, social media, those that are against it, that I know, and I say against it, They just don't like it. They say that it takes a lot of time.
Right.
People, that people end up spending time and they're not productive in any way because they're just looking at their phone for 2 hours.
And it's kind of like the saying, you can know where your heart is by where your money goes.
Yep.
The time is the same way. What you spend time on is your passions. That's what you love. And it's similar to some advice I got while working in the film industry. If you're 10 minutes early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. If you're 1 minute late, you're fired. In that, when you are not on time, you are showing whoever or whatever you were supposed to do, whatever you said you were going to do, it's showing you do not respect. You're showing them a lack of respect.
Or they're not
your
as
job.
important as whatever it is you're doing. Their importance is much less than yours.
And that's fine. We all have priorities and things that have to be done. But when you're missing out on life to stay on social media, that's a different form of life that many people don't want, of just an online existence.
Well, the opposite. So we've kind of talked about some of the negatives and some of the things that people that I know have said about social media and why they don't want to be involved in it. The opposite side of that is I agree with all those things. All of those things can certainly be a big part of the negativity that draws from social media, whether it's your time zap, where you're spending all the time there, you're not spending time with family, friends, or your work. A lot of people get on social media and they're not doing their job because they have that phone in their hand, and so the boss isn't looking, so they'll be doing something else. Or the negativity, the fighting, the constant railing against each other. People really get sucked down a rabbit hole pretty easily on some of these things. People will put out their topics purposefully to try to get you to, to start arguing about them. So all those things certainly can be negative. The flip side is, and the way I see social media, and specifically I'm going to talk about Facebook, is that it's such a fantastic tool. It's like a hammer. If you're needing to put a nail in the board, it's much easier to do with a hammer than it is with a feather, or a pencil or something like that. And so social media to me is such a fantastic tool in many ways. Number one, it allows us to, in a lot of ways, allows us to have contact with friends and family that are not here, wherever here is for you. You can see things with them there. And of course, you can pick up the phone and talk to them too, and that's but that's kind of what you're doing with social media. You're picking up the phone, quote unquote, and you're talking to them through pictures, through chats, through all of those things. The second thing about social media is it is a big business driver, and so you can share so much with your intended audience about your business or about things you care about. And so, there's positives and negatives to everything, and I think social media is, and specifically Facebook, because it's the biggest social media out there, the most people are on that, is here's what I'll say, and this is what I've said when I've talked to people that really, quote unquote, hate social media. It's just like anything else. It's how we choose to use it. It's what it is. Yeah. So if you choose to use social media in a positive way, you will. If you choose to use it in a negative way or let it negatively affect you, because there's the arguments out there that says that it's a bully machine. You can bully people with social media. That people, not only kids but adults too, feel inferior. They see pictures of people, on vacation, and they say, "Well, I didn't get to go on vacation. I hate my life." Those things like that. It's how we choose to use it is how it's going to affect us. And so I think social media is a great thing. I think it's a bad thing. It's both, and it depends on how people choose to use it. I choose to use it in a positive way, so I think it's a fantastic tool. I think it's a great tool in my tool bag to reach people, and we're doing it right now. We get to do it. We get to do it. We do Bulldog Sports, and everything that Pigs Valley Broadcasting does utilizes those social media tools like YouTube and Facebook, and of course over the air like we are right now. So I think that it's a good thing.
It is, and it can be. It's like anything. If you give it more influence on your life, then it's like when you give anything, when you turn anything into a god, that lead your decisions. It's never good because they're not God. So, it's, whether it's money or social media, whatever, people use that, and social media is just a tool that can be used for good. Like when I was in the hospital, I was able to keep up with people from all over the world where I couldn't necessarily make a phone call. I couldn't call Jennifer in Okinawa because she's in a totally different time zone. But a message on Facebook, that worked just well. And we were able to...
Whenever she got on, she would see it.
Yeah, and then she'd respond, and then when I got up in the morning, I could check it. Whereas there are, like you were saying, there are a lot of instigators on social media, and a lot of people that, like the joke meme that was going around probably since social media started is, you wouldn't say that to my face because you know what would happen if you said that to my face.
Yeah, there'd be a fight probably.
Right,
yeah.
But...
keyboard warriors.
But from a basement, you can type whatever you want and insult whoever, but you can also encourage whoever. And so it goes back to who you are as a person.
And how you choose to use it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we've talked about social media probably more than most people want to hear. We're going to go ahead and take a weather break. We're going to see what's going on out there in the weather here locally. Stay tuned here on KSVP Radio.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty warm today. We'll be in the upper 80s and low 90s across eastern New Mexico. And we do have just enough moist air for an afternoon shower or thunderstorm. Otherwise, we'll get a mix of sunshine and clouds. Scattered showers and a few thunderstorms for the overnight hours. Our low dropping to about 65. And then we have a chance of afternoon thunderstorms again on Wednesday, mid-80s. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Well, welcome back here to the Good Morning Artesia show. Joby Hodling in for Gene Dow. Great to have you with us this morning, and thanks for listening here on the show. And we've got the incredible story of the day, brought to you by Incredible Printing, located across the street from the Derek Forrest statue. Let Georgia and her team, Artesia's only local printers, take care of all your custom carbon material today. Incredible Printing survived the shutdowns and is open for your business. Incredible Printing can make your business and office a professional-looking brochure to advertise everything that puts you ahead of the competition. Incredible does business cards and posters while specializing in custom carbon material. And then here's the incredible story of the day, brought to you by Incredible Printing. And the incredible story of the day to me was what happened last night in NFL football, Monday Night Football. The Seattle Seahawks hosting the Denver Broncos. And one of the big storylines of that game was Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, the longtime quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks. He's a future Hall of Famer in most people's opinion. And then he forced his way, some would say, forced his way out of Seattle last year to get a big contract. He probably already was getting a big contract from Seattle, but basically he forced his way out of Seattle, got to Denver in a team that was pretty much prepped and loaded up for a Super Bowl run, or at least that's what the hopes are for the Denver Broncos. And Russell Wilson, this future Hall of Famer, leaves Seattle and he goes to Denver, and they play on Monday Night Football, the first Monday Night Football of the year for the NFL 2022 season. And Russell Wilson comes down. It's a tight football game. There's a couple of minutes left in the game. He's got the reins, if you will. He's down by 1 point. The Denver Broncos are down by 1 point to the Seattle Seahawks. They're in Seattle, where it's well known to be very, very loud. And Seattle says they have the 12th man, and of course you know that A&M Aggies say that as well. But Seattle really wanted that game. The head coach for Seattle, Pete Carroll, I saw some of the interviews. He was very guarded in what he said, but a lot of people around him told folks in the media that he wanted that game. I mean, it was a big game because basically the marriage was broken up between him and Russell Wilson, and a lot is tied to the head coach and the quarterback in most franchises, and no different for Seattle. But what came down to it, and again, I didn't see this happen live, but I got to see some things after, as I turned the TV on after I came in from doing other things, And if you didn't see the game, so here's the story. Here's what happens. They're down by 1. It's 17-16, I think, was the score. And Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos have the ball. They've got a couple of minutes. They got all 3 timeouts. They've got plenty of time. They're going to drive down, kick a field goal, they win. Score a touchdown, they win. But in any case, Russell Wilson, just like Pete Carroll, he wants to win. He's left the franchise. I saw the cameras kept, going around the stadium, and Trader, they had a lot of the fans not happy that he left Seattle. But so the time is ticking away. They get to 4th down. I believe it was 4th down and 5. And the commentators, they're saying, what's going on? Why are they taking so long in the huddle? They're just letting the clock run down. And they let it run right down to almost time for a delay of game, and he calls the timeout. And what was going on was they were going to bring their big-legged kicker out for a 63 or 64-yard field goal attempt to win the game. And the big story is the kicker kicks it, and it just hooks just enough. It missed it. Looked like it had the leg. Looked like he had the leg to get it through, but just hooked enough that it doesn't go in. And so the Seattle Seahawks win the game. And so we're going to go ahead and take a break, and I'm going to come back and finish that big story because there was a lot of commentary, a lot of things said about not only the coach, the head coach for Denver, about Russell Wilson, about what it meant to the Seattle Seahawks. So stay tuned for that here on KSVP Radio and KSVPTV.com. Of course, we're on Facebook as well. We were talking about social media earlier. We're going to go to the Wall Street Business Report. We'll be back for the 8 o'clock hour coming up here.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. The Biden administration continues to urge railroads and unions to reach a deal to avoid a railroad work stoppage, saying on Monday it would pose an unacceptable outcome to the United States economy. Hard Rock International, the global gambling, entertainment, and hospitality company, said Monday it is spending over $100 million to give significant raises to 10,000 non-tipped workers. The raises, which include an immediate increase to a minimum starting salary of $18 to $21 an hour, are designed to help employees deal with persistent inflation. Nissan will extend its suspension of an assembly plant in St. Petersburg, Russia, for 3 months until late December. The plant, which was idled in March after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, was originally set to resume operations in late September. The suspension was extended because of continuing difficulties obtaining parts from Europe and Japan. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
It's Chevy truck season at Guy Chevrolet Company in Artesia. The Chevy Silverado is as durable as it is dependable with its proven power and capability along with advanced technology. And this month you can make it your own with a $1,000 accessory allowance when you purchase or lease a Silverado 1500 or HD. So come on in and see us today at Guy Chevrolet Company on the corner of 1st and Main in Artesia or at GuyChevy.com.
Making a great deal better every day.
Your Artesia Bulldogs are blazing through the season, and coming up this Friday, the boys are back on the road, headed to Cleveland High to take on the Storm. KSVP AM and FM and KSVPTV.com are your source for all things Bulldogs. Join Joby Hodling and Robbie Ballou for audio-only coverage beginning with the pregame at 6:30 and kickoff at 7. Bulldogs versus the Storm of Cleveland High, Friday night beginning at 6:30 on KSVP AM and FM and audio coverage at KSVPTV.com. Southeastern New Mexico's sports authority, then, now, and always.
Welcome to Answers with Ken Ham, presented by the Coalition of Christians for Biblical Creation and Harvest Fellowship. CCBC is an interdenomination coalition of Christians from Artesia who believe that the account of origins presented in the Genesis is a simple but factual presentation of actual events and provides reliable basis for man's worldview and a framework for scientific investigation into the question of the origin and history of life. Answers with Ken Ham is brought to you by Harvest Fellowship at 2307 West Main in Artesia. To learn more about Harvest Fellowship, call Pastor Ronnie Williams at 746-6195. Now, today's Answers with Ken Ham, presented by Harvest Fellowship, 2307 West Main in Artesia.
Today's KSVIP is Jimmy Smith. Jimmy owns Artesia Plumbing and Heating, and tomorrow is Jimmy's birthday. Happy birthday! We hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. Today, Jimmy, you're going to receive a flower from Lovebud Floral and KSVP. Today's KSVIP, Jimmy Smith.
They see me mowing my front lawn. I know they're all thinking I'm so white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. Can't you see I'm white and nerdy? Look at me, I'm white and nerdy. I wanna roll with the gangsters, but so far they all think I'm too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. I'm just too white and nerdy. Really, really white and
First in my class there at MIT. Got skills, I'm a champion of D&D. MC Escher, that's my favorite MC. Keep your 40 out, just have an Earl Grey tea. My rims never spin, to the contrary. You'll find that they're quite stationary. All of my action figures are cherry. Stephen Hawking's in my library. My MySpace page is all totally pimped out. Got people begging for my top 8 spaces. Yo, I know probably 1,000 places. Ain't got no grills, but I still wear braces. I order all of my sandwiches with mayonnaise. I'm a whiz and minesweeper, I can play for days. Once you see my sweet moves, you're gonna stay amazed. My fingers moving so fast, I'll set the place ablaze. There's no killer rap I haven't run. At Pascal, well, I'm number 1. Do vector calculus just for fun. I ain't got a gap, but I got a soldering gun. Happy Days is my favorite theme song. I can sure kick your butt in a game of ping pong. I'll ace any trivia quiz you bring on. I'm fluent in JavaScript as well as Klingon. Here's the part I sing on.
See me roll on my Segway. I know in my heart they think I'm white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white.
All right, so we're back here on KSVP Radio. Good morning, Artesia. Gene's theme song, I love it. I think that it fits him perfectly. I'm sure that's why he picked it, because it's a it's a great theme song to come into. And we've got, of course, coming up this hour, we've got Chamber Chat with Jessica Bolema and Coxie Maupin. And if you're just now joining us, Jeffrey, Curtis, and I were talking a little bit about social media and the positives and negatives. And there's a lot more. I mean, we just talked a little bit about it. There's a lot more positives and a lot more negatives. But then the story of the day brought to you by Incredible Printing. Well, I was talking about last night's NFL game that I did not watch, but I saw the end highlights anyway. I didn't even watch the highlights of the game. It was not exactly a high-scoring affair. The final score was 17-16. The the Seattle Seahawks defeated the Denver Broncos. But the story of that game to me was all the stuff going along with the game. The fact that Russell Wilson had left the Seahawks. A lot of people in Seattle see him as a traitor. He went for the money. He ended up signing a $245 million contract with the Denver Broncos, who were looking for that type of quarterback. They feel like they've got the team, the elements, the staff, the personnel that they need to get to the Super Bowl and win it again. And they wanted a quarterback to take them there. And so they went out and they recruited and got Russell Wilson, who, in a lot of people's minds, in my mind, I believe he's probably a future Hall of Famer in the NFL. $245 million contract, of which $165 million is guaranteed. And so when you hear that guaranteed thing, that means that if he goes down today with a career-ending injury, he gets $165 million anyway. He gets that guaranteed in his contract. So his full contract's $245 million, but if something were to happen to him, he's still going to make $165 million. And, it's one of those things, it's hard for me to wrap my mind around that much money. I have the ability to understand it, $165 million. But, man, can you imagine actually having that guaranteed it's going to come to you? But back to the incredible story. So you've got a future Hall of Fame quarterback. He's got 3 minutes to go in the ball game. He's down by 1. He's in his previous home environment, the 12th man, the rocking stadium that is in Seattle. And of course they're going crazy. It's loud there. The cameramen are showing a decibel reader, showing how loud it was. But he's got plenty of time. He's got all 3 of his timeouts, and he's just got to drive within field goal range basically. And their kicker has a big leg. I forget his name, the kicker's name. I may look that up here in a minute. But he's known for being able to kick it from a long ways out. And as I'm watching this highlight coming into the house and turning the TV back on, I wanted to see what was going on in the game. And it was already over, so it ended quicker than I thought it would. But in any case, they were showing what had happened when I turned the TV on, and what had happened was it looks like Denver probably, theoretically, they're going to get the win. They got enough time. They got all 3 timeouts. They got a Hall of Fame quarterback. They got this team built around him that are just chock full of fantastic athletes, which, by the way, if you're in the NFL, you are the best of the best. I mean, you were the best player at your high school. You're probably the best player at your college, wherever you went to college, because to be in the NFL is tremendous. So everybody in the NFL is good. But then you've got the best of those guys, and so Denver, supposedly based on all the analysis out there, they've got a team that is set to go. They look to go deep into the playoffs, if not even into the Super Bowl, and win it. And they got that quarterback piece of the puzzle in Russell Wilson. So I've set the stage. If you didn't see the game, here's the big story brought to you by Incredible Printing. They've got plenty of time. They've got all their timeouts, and they're driving, but they get stalled. They get a 4th down, and I think it was 4th and 5, and they're in the huddle like they're going to run a play. They let the time go all the way down, and then Russell Wilson calls a timeout, and he trots off the field, and in comes the field goal unit. And this is going to be a 60-plus yard attempt. There's only a few seconds left on the clock because they had let it run down. And so the big story is, would you have done that as the head coach of the Denver Broncos? Or would you have utilized your timeouts better, which they didn't? They just used 1. They had 3. And try to get, even though it was 4th and 5, put the ball in your future Hall of Fame quarterback's hands to get that first down, get closer, because a 60-plus yard field goal attempt is not automatic. I mean, it's not even close to automatic. A 50-yard field goal attempt is not automatic. Those guys that kick in the NFL are really good, and they can knock them down. But when you're talking over 60 yards, that is not automatic. And in fact, he misses the field goal. So if you didn't know that, I just told you the rest of the story. He misses it, and the Seattle Seahawks win the game by 1 point. And then all the prognosticators come out, all the armchair quarterbacks, and of course the folks on the TV are talking about it. What should the coach have done? And a lot of people said, well, you're paying this guy $245 million to win football games. He's the quarterback. He's the leader of your team. Why would you put it in the hands of a kicker to kick a very low percentage kick to win the game? And so my thoughts, I don't know. The head coach, they get paid a lot of money too. They got to make those big decisions, and I don't know for 100% that it was the head coach's call. I don't know if he has somebody in his ear that's his boss that said, hey, we're kicking the field goal here. Let's get it with the field goal, even though it's a 60-plus yarder. I don't know if that's the case or not, but that's not how it's viewed. It's viewed that the head coach made the decision, which he probably did, and then he puts the ball in effect in the hands, or in this case on the foot of his field goal kicker, instead of, which they would have done eventually, right? I mean, if Russell Wilson picks up that 4th and 5, they get a few more yards, they use their timeouts right, they get closer in for the field goal, the chances are good they would have put it on the kicker anyways. But to put it on him when you got a lot of time left and you got 3 timeouts and you purposely run the clock down to get it where there's not going to be much time left, you're just going to kick the field goal theoretically and win the game. The problem was it was over 60 yards, and one of the stats that I saw as I watched this wrap-up was that he was 1 of 8 in his career over 60 yards. So, again, even though the young man, the kicker, has a big leg, it's not like he just makes these every day, and you don't see a lot of 60-yard-plus field goal attempts anyway in the NFL. He's happened to have had 8 of them in his career. He's only made 1 of them, and now he's 1 of 9, and Denver loses. They lose their first game. They're now 0-1 on the season. Seattle is 1-0. They got, if you want to say it, they got revenge on losing their quarterback. So from the fans' perspective, a lot of them probably say, Seattle Seahawks fans say, okay, see, should have never left Seattle. Pete Carroll, the head coach, got that big win against his former quarterback, the future Hall of Famer. And so I don't know, whatever you think, would you have done that? As I thought about it, again, $245 million contract, $165 million guaranteed. I think, with Russell Wilson's ability, I probably would have put it in his arms and his hands or his legs, because not only can he pass exceptionally well, makes fantastic decisions on where to go with the ball, he can run, so he's dual threat, pick up those 5 yards, get closer, use their time properly. Who knows, they might get a touchdown and win going away with a touchdown, or at least get in closer for that attempted field goal and give your kicker a better shot, because when you're 1 of 8 from beyond 60 yards, and probably most NFL kickers are 0 of whatever, if they've even ever attempted a 60-yard field goal in an NFL game. So it's one of those things. It's a big story, a lot of storylines in that matchup in the NFL, and I know that, like I said earlier, the NFL is the gold standard for professional sports. It just is. Way more people watch it, more people are involved in it than all the other sports really combined. At least a stat a few years ago I saw said that the NFL is bigger than MLB, NBA, professional soccer, PGA, all combined. So they're definitely the gold standard. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, we're going to have Chamber Chat. So stay tuned right here on KSVP Radio and KSVPTV.com. We're on Facebook as well. Stay tuned. We'll be back.
But as the years went by, retirement got closer and closer. Well, I wish I'd have started saving 10 years earlier.
How you spend your retirement depends on what you do now while you're still working. We've helped a lot of area seniors prepare for retirement. Stop in and see us about saving for yours. Western Bank of Artesia. We're big on you. Member FDIC.
21. It's not just a number, it's the law. The legal drinking age is 21, not 18. And if you get caught buying or serving alcohol to anyone underage, it's not just their problem, it's yours. Don't wreck your life. Do the right thing. You have too much to lose. Don't try to be cool. Instead, make a stand and do your part to eliminate underage drinking. The legal age is 21, not 18. A friendly reminder from the Eddy County DWI Prevention Program.
If you have a wound that hasn't healed in 4 or more weeks, it could be a sign that you need specialized care. The Wound Care and Hyperbaric Medicine Center at Artesia General Hospital is here to help. Our wound care team will work with you to build your customized treatment plan so you can get back to your life as quickly as possible. Joining the team is certified family nurse practitioner Rochelle McIntyre. She provides compassionate care to people experiencing chronic or complicated wounds. Learn more at artesiageneral.com/wound.
Devon Energy is proud to support Artesia High School athletic programs. By partnering with Artesia, we're making an investment in the long-term future of our community. Sports teach discipline, teamwork, and leadership, skills our youth will use to succeed for a lifetime. From our team to yours, Devon Energy wishes you good luck this season, both on the field and in the classroom. Go Bulldogs from Devon Energy.
Well, welcome back here to KSVP. Good morning, Artesia, and we've got...
then we'll be off to the races with a special master.
Well,
exactly.
I'm not sure what happened. I'm going to try this again.
One was not necessary, and two wouldn't happen when Trump asked for it.
All right, so I think I got rid of that stuff that was in the background there. Joined here on Chamber Chat by Jessica Bolema. Good morning, Jessica.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm doing good. You're doing great.
Well, thanks. It's
for your first time.
For my first time on Good Morning Artesia. Well, on this side of the desk. I mean, I sit on your side sometimes, but yeah, to be over here is like I said, it's a little bit intimidating, and I fancy myself not being intimidated easily, but it's a little intimidating. You sit down here and you got all these numbers in front of you and all these breaks and all this stuff, and
the flashing lights and the buttons.
Yeah, and there's a lot of buttons over here. You know, I look at this board and I'm like,
It is intimidating.
A little bit intimidating. So thanks for coming in this morning. I know you guys normally come in. Normally Coxie Moppin is with you, but not this morning.
Yeah, we're down. Haley's out this morning, and so in order to keep the chamber open on the other side of things, we had to divide and conquer this morning. So you got me.
All right. Well, good. No reason for apologies. Glad you're here this morning, and And we're going to get to what's going on around town, but I wanted to get your take first. And I've had kind of two subjects this morning, but so let's talk a little bit about social media. What is your thoughts on social media? And I'm going to say specifically Facebook, but you can talk about others as well. I know there's a lot of social media out there. What are your thoughts on it? What do you think about it?
Yeah, so as far as the chamber goes, I actually been thinking about this after listening to you this morning a lot, because I'm like, man, I know earlier you were saying it's a tool. A lot of people use it as a tool, and don't let it, it, like you said earlier also, that it's a choice, right? So if you end up choosing to let it be a time suck, then it will end up being a time suck. But also what we have done recently in the last year is this digital media marketing tool. We use it for a lot of our events here in Artesia to bring people in. And we have seen record numbers for so many of our events just by using this tool. And I know you were talking earlier about Big Brother, 1984, and all the things, and it's kind of interesting, like we get to be that person. And so, like for instance, ours isn't necessarily things that someone has said on the phone or have searched for on the phone, but it has been locations. So, for instance, we'll have, say someone goes to a country concert out of town somewhere, we can pinpoint that location, and then after they leave, if they have been there in the last 45 days, after they leave, they'll start getting ads for some of our country concerts, like our Red Dirt Black Gold coming up in October. So that's how we've been using it, and I know it is Big Brother, but we feel like it's been a positive return on that. Our Balloons and Tunes last year, we marketed the location of Balloon Fiesta Park. So anybody who has gone to Balloon Fiesta Park in that time frame will start getting our ads for Balloons and Tunes. They can come down here and enjoy our hot air balloons as well.
So up in Albuquerque,
yes,
you're talking about.
Yes.
So if they saw that, then they're going to get stuff on us.
Yes, exactly. So it's kind of neat because you can pinpoint and target people, like it's like-minded, right? So if they went to that event, they obviously like balloons, hot air balloons. So hey, all of a sudden now you start come to Artesia, stay for the weekend, see our hot air balloons as well.
Right.
So.
All right. So that's on a professional level.
Yes.
And I agree with you. I think that the tools and Jeffrey's coming in here. I don't know if I need to turn them back up. I just hear a lot of bumping and okay, good.
Oh, that's my mic.
Yeah, which I had you higher than me to begin with, and I left you higher than me, but I turned them down a little because it seems like I get. But again, who knows?
Yeah.
It's probably working just fine.
Cool.
Jeffrey will keep monitor of us. All right. So from a professional level, you view social media as fantastic.
Yes, I mean because we can use it as that. Personally, I mean, of course, we can all learn tricks of the trade, and like you said earlier, it's a choice. So if I choose to sit there and scroll and not get my sleep, my 8 hours of sleep, that's on me,
You get 8 hours of sleep?
I definitely try. Yes,
sir. That's awesome. I don't.
But then, there's like, I don't know, it's hard because you've got your social aspect of it and personally, but then you've got the professional side of it, and being a face of the chamber and out in the community, you don't want that personal side of Facebook to end up clouding anyone's judgment professionally of the chamber, right? So there's always that fine line too of like, what do you look like on social media personally that others might be looking at you professionally, in this chamber aspect. So there's always that kind of stuff too that you really have to, you think twice about what you post. And the other flip side of that is the safety of it as well, right? Of course, we all don't want to think about it, but there's human trafficking things and, posting our kids and posting this and posting, it could get scary real quick.
Yeah, that's something I didn't mention earlier. I've got friends that, and even family members that they don't want to put anything about their kids, no pictures, nothing like that. And then I've got friends and family that show everything.
Yes.
And not worried about it. So it is what it is. It is what we make of it. Anything really, we can be worried about anything. And so people have different levels of worry, so I agree with you. I didn't bring up that aspect of it, but it's definitely part of it. The other thing I didn't bring up, I'm glad you did, is for a lot of people, you know, they work somewhere or they don't run a business, quote unquote. You guys are running the Chamber of Commerce, and so you say it, and I agree with you, you want to be mindful of what you're doing on your personal social media stuff, because you don't want it to negatively affect or reflect your job. And so with Facebook, it's easy. I said this earlier. And I'm going to admit to something here that I probably wouldn't normally admit to. One time, I got pulled into an argument. I've always told myself that if I see things that are controversial, that people have these strong feelings about, and there's a lot of those issues, I kind of just scroll by it when I'm looking at Facebook, because I try to use Facebook as a tool for what I've got going on with my businesses, and with, of course, Pecos Valley Broadcasting getting to do well, not just football, but Bulldog sports. I try to use it as that tool, and also for my church, and because if people won't get up and go to church, well, we want them to still hear what's going on in church service and the Word of God. So we use that. There's another tool. The churches use it. The chamber uses it. I mean, it's a great tool. But at the same time, I don't want to get pulled in. So one time, I was scrolling through Facebook, and I don't even remember what the topic was, but it was something that just lit me up for a moment, and I got pulled into it. And I made 3 or 4 comments, and whoever it was that was the other side of the topic was coming back at me, and then I thought, what am I doing?
Yes.
I mean,
delete.
I just quit. I just went on,
Yeah.
and it's only happened to me once, but I know it happens to people all the time.
Yeah.
Because the way we're built, the way we're wired, is that we each have our own things that fire us up.
Yes.
And some people have more than others, it appears to me, as I scroll through Facebook. But nonetheless, we each have things that fire us up. And so, I keep saying Facebook. It's interesting. My brothers and I talk about, I've got 2 younger brothers, and we talk about stuff like this from time to time. And both of them they're not 100% anti-social media, but they're pretty close.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't think of things like Pinterest, for example, as a social media platform, but it really is, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you look at Pinterest.
I do.
Okay.
Anytime we're brainstorming for whether it is professionally or personally, like I look at recipes upon recipes upon recipe. Every week when I do my meal prep, I'm on Pinterest looking at stuff. And same thing for the chamber. When we're looking at events, I'm like, hey, what's a new tchotchke, or what's a new gift item that we could give for this, or what's a fun new idea? Like, I go to Pinterest because there's so many ideas on there. I'm really good at recreating things.
So you see something you like and then recreate it.
Oh yeah, I'm really.
And not
good at
only
that.
meals, I assume, but I mean, Pinterest is. I used to think Pinterest was
girly.
Girly, number one, yes. And I don't know if it really is, but that's what I always thought of it.
Yeah.
But more of, I always thought of Pinterest as where you get, like you said, ideas how to make things and things like that. But really, it's a lot broader than that.
Yes.
It's got basically anything, I guess, everything. Is it set up like Facebook where you can have chats going and or is it like that?
I think yes, you can send. I've only done it to where, like, I wanted to share, for instance, a recipe with someone else. They're like, "Ooh, that was really good. Where'd you get it?" Or how, share that recipe. That's how I've used the chat. I think there is a little messaging box on Pinterest.
So besides the messaging box, is there live where you can comment, and then people can come on and comment, and then others like Facebook?
Yeah, and you have your friends on there, and it'll show like, oh, look what so and so pinned today. Like, you'll get little notifications. I rarely look at that kind of stuff, but it's not as interactive, I feel like, as like Facebook and Instagram. But yeah, it is a social media tool. It really is.
So talk about, I don't know, you may be more, I'm not involved in Instagram much. One of my businesses, we utilize it some, but Snapchat, Instagram, those kind of things. What do you know about those?
So I use Instagram personally, but that's where I post like my kiddos, a little more personal things. I don't post that on Facebook, not in like a weird way, but I have a lot more friends on Facebook, just through the chamber, people that I say friends, quote unquote friends, but people that I follow, people that follow me, whatever. Instagram, I keep it a lot more private. It's my closer, tight-knit friends and family, and that's it. So it's a private account. You wouldn't be able to see anything.
I was going to say, so if you and I aren't friends on Instagram, I wouldn't see what you're posting.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
And I guess that's the way it is on Facebook, isn't it? But you just have a broader group of friends.
Correct.
Is what you're saying.
Yeah, and because when I lived in Denver for 4 years, moved, college for time for this, I was at UNM for a while, at Texas Tech for a while, so there's like friends from all, like Jeffrey was saying earlier, I started Facebook when I was at Tech, and I can't remember if it was Tech or UNM. I think it was at Tech. So 2003-ish, 2004.
I was going to say, when I should have asked Jeffrey, but maybe you'll know. When did Facebook start?
I think it was around then, like 2001, 2002.
Okay. I remember the other one was called MySpace.
Yes.
It was kind of predecessor
Had
or
that too.
happening about the same time, but then Facebook took over and that went away.
Yeah, because Facebook was just, like he was saying, just for universities. So you connect with, your fellow college students and see what's going on. And it was a way, I think it first started out in the Greek system.
Okay.
If you've seen that social media, the movie, The Social Network, it has the whole history about it and like how it started. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely started in
cool.
college. And by guys that were going to college and wanted to be able to do what you said, which is interact with fellow college students, specifically maybe about what they're studying, but other things as well.
Well, and someone you might recognize why it's called the Facebook. Like you recognize their face, you don't know who that is. Oh, you can go to my poli-sci class and it'll pull up all the people registered in your poli-sci class. You're like, oh yeah, that's that person. And then you can kind of go get to know them in class and say, hey.
So did you use it that way?
I did.
Early on?
Wow. I did.
Okay. So that's something I didn't, a lot of this early stuff with social media, I didn't really understand it because I was one of those that are kind of like what I would say my brothers today. And again, I'm not saying that bad or good. I'm not trying to throw my brothers under the bus or something, but they're just not big on social media for a variety of reasons. And back then in 2002, 3, 1, whenever it became a big deal, I didn't really start using it until, Jeffrey just brought me a note and said it started in 2003 and you had to have a .edu email address to be able to join Facebook, and then it became open to anyone in 2006. Well, I was later in life. I didn't take on Facebook until about 2010, and I really didn't take it on then. I used it a tiny bit, but then in recent years I've used it a lot more. But anyway, I didn't realize that that's how it was. It was like you said, I've seen the movie. I knew it was college, but I didn't realize that's how you joined. And so it's been around for, I guess, 19 years now.
Yeah. And now
19,
what I've been finding out, like we've got a daughter in high school, and Facebook isn't the thing in high school, which is so crazy to think about. Like, I was in college when I got it, and now the high schoolers are like, meh.
Well, that's
They're
for
more
old
TikTok.
people.
Yeah, exactly.
I
They're
mean,
more TikTok, and I think now Facebook has morphed into the older generation. I say older, but our generation that was in college at the time, and so now we're turning 40 and up, and so there's that aspect of it, but also it's turned into a marketing tool. You get so many ads. You don't, like you was saying earlier, you don't necessarily see all of your friends. You see this select few that Facebook wants you to see, and that algorithm, I think, kind of upsets a lot of people because, man, sometimes I'll see something and it'll say this person posted it 3 weeks ago and I'm just now seeing it. I'm like, man, I haven't seen that person in a long time. This is cool. It's finally popping up, But I don't know. It does get a little frustrating at times. I totally get that. So I think the younger ones are more into Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, like you said. And Snapchat's becoming a thing. We have learned how to do Snapchat filters, like for events, which is really cool for the younger crowd. Well, even my crowd. I like going to the Red Dirt Black Gold concert and you pull up Snapchat and you're filming and there's a cool filter that has Red Dirt Black Gold on it, and we tried to do a Balloons and Tunes one last year that they did not approve, so we're going to attempt another one this year.
That they, as in the chamber, or the Balloons and Tunes?
The Snapchat people.
Oh,
the powers
Snapchat
that be
people.
said no.
Oh. Well.
So we're going to try again.
I'm going to say this and then we're going to take a break, but
okay.
I'm going to comment on something you said. I find it interesting that and I agree with you, that it seems like the younger generation, the high school age type, and even college age type, are not real big on Facebook. But I do see, at least in my small world of Facebook, kids coming onto it.
Yes, that's true.
You know, they didn't do it in high school, but now that they're in college, they start kind of migrating there. I think they're still on all the other social media sites. Obviously, I've got a daughter that you've got a kid in high school. I've got my youngest just went to college, so her freshman year is right now, her fall semester, first time in college, and she's not on Facebook, but I could see her transitioning to it, or at least maybe not transitioning away from the other sites that she uses, because she does use the other ones that you mentioned some. But I see a lot of kids her age that all of a sudden are popping up on my Facebook saying request friend or whatever, and I'm thinking, interesting.
Oh, those are their friends. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Same thing. Well, and I know I know you got to take a break, but LinkedIn is another one that a lot of, it's more of a professional site, but it still is social media.
Yeah, LinkedIn. I used it before I used Facebook, really, for business purposes, but I hardly ever get on there anymore. I get these notifications that people are saying congratulations on something.
Your work anniversary.
Yeah, and I haven't been doing that for 15 years, and I just never went in and updated my LinkedIn page. All right, well, we're going to continue here with Jessica Bolema here on the Good Morning Artesia show. We'll be back after this timeout, and we're going to talk a little bit about last night. You said you're a fan of one of the teams. I won't spoil it yet. I'll let you talk about that. And then we're going to talk about Chamber Chat as well, and kind of monopolizing your time, but we'll talk about what's going on with the Chamber. So we'll be right back.
Okay.
Now for a Pecos Valley News update. I'm Jared Cirillo.
I love it.
A woman who was reportedly kidnapped from a casino in Hobbs last weekend has been found in Carlsbad. Hobbs police issued a statement that said officers responded to Zia Park Hotel and Casino for a reported kidnapping. They determined that a woman named Erica Martinez had been forced into a silver Chrysler 300 by a man named Jonathan Zaragoza. Both the man and the woman were found in Carlsbad late Saturday night, and both are in good shape. Police said criminal charges against Zaragoza were pending. The state's green chili season is in full swing as the aroma of fresh roasted peppers permeates the air. But growers and exporters in Mexico are just as busy, and that's causing a crunch at the international border. Authorities said Monday the agricultural inspectors with U.S. Customs have been processing dozens of chili imports every day at the port of entry in Columbus, New Mexico. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo reporting.
It's time for the Eddy County Sports Report. Got some soccer action going on tonight. Eddy County rivalry style. Artesia will be playing at Carlsbad in boys soccer. That starts at 6 o'clock tonight. Did you know the Artesia boys are 8-3 overall? Carlsbad's 5-5-1. Artesia last played on Saturday, defeating Clovis 2-1. Carlsbad 0-2-1 in its last three, lost 2-1 to Lovington also on Saturday. Meanwhile, the Carlsbad girls are also 0-2-1 in their last three. That's something the Cave girls aren't used to. They are 5-2-3 overall and will be playing at Artesia, which is 5-6, maybe 6-6 overall. We're a little confused by some of the results. Artesia defeated Santa Teresa 2-1 on Saturday. Carlsbad tied Hobbs on Saturday after losing to Piedra Vista and Los Alamos Thursday and Friday. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at KSVP Radio, AM 990.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Wall Street targeting a decline in the monthly CPI report. Starbucks focused on growth and holiday travel expenses climbing. Those stories next. Inflation's at a 40-year high. Interest rates are through the roof, and your retirement accounts are especially vulnerable. That's why the precious metal dealers at American Hartford Gold will show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by adding physical gold and silver to your portfolio. Get started with just a quick text to Lou, L-O-U, at 998-899, and American Hartford Gold will have physical gold and silver delivered right to your front door or deposited to your IRA or 401k. It's that easy. And for a limited time, when you text LOU to 998-899, American Hartford Gold will give you up to $1,500 of free silver on your first qualifying order. Text Lou now to 998-899. That's LOU to 998-899. And see what American Hartford Gold can do for you. Once again, text Lou to 998-899. now. Wall Street coming off its fourth straight winning session. Investors awaiting today's key inflation reports. The Consumer Price Index for August is the last major economic update ahead of next week's Fed meeting. Economists targeting the headline CPI to have risen 8.1% in August, down nearly 0.5% from July. If that forecast holds, it would mark the first monthly decline in the CPI in 2 years. Starbucks unveiling a reinvention plan at today's Investor Day event. The strategy will address efficiency at cafes and improving employee turnover rates. Starbucks remains focused on growth in a post-pandemic world. The stock down 24% so far this year. Holiday travel, the most expensive it's been in years. The average domestic airfare up 22% since 2019. Airlines expect bookings to continue to rise despite inflation's effect on consumers. Please join me 3 times each weekday right here on this station. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Welcome back here to KSVP Radio, KSVPTV.com, and KSVP on Facebook. We're here with Jessica Bowman. We're going to come back here in just a minute after the weather update and talk about the football game last night, and then get into chamber chat, the reason she's here. And so stay tuned right here on KSVP Radio and KSVPTV.com, as well as Facebook. We'll be back.
Your weather forecast is brought to you by Do Right Roofing. For a free estimate, give Do Right Roofing a call today. 623-2273. That's 623-2273.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty warm today. We'll be in the upper 80s and low 90s across eastern New Mexico. And we do have just enough moist air for an afternoon shower or thunderstorm. Otherwise, we'll get a mix of sunshine and clouds. Scattered showers and a few thunderstorms for the overnight hours. Our low dropping to about 65, and then we have a chance of afternoon thunderstorms again on Wednesday, mid-80s. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
You've changed thousands of diapers, cut off hundreds of crusts, played hours of peekaboo and duck, duck, goose. But you'd do anything for your kids. That's why it's so important to protect them with life insurance from State Farm. State Farm agent Sandy Stockton will help make it easy and affordable to help you protect your family, no matter what the future holds. Because for the people you'd do anything for, life insurance could mean everything. Call State Farm agent Sandy Stockton in Artesia today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
The Yucca Blossom Summer's End Extravaganza is fun for the whole family. They have 90-plus booths to shop, a variety of food trucks to fill your belly, and an array of amusing activities for the kiddos, including face painting, bouncy houses, rock climbing, quad power jump, and live music from the County Line Band. Mark your calendars for Saturday, September 17th from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. and Sunday, September 18th from 11 a.m. till 4 p.m. at the Eddy County Fairgrounds in Artesia.
If you're missing a tooth or several teeth, a dental implant may be the ultimate solution. Implants look and feel so much like real teeth that you probably forget you have an implant. Maupin and Brown Dentistry is one of New Mexico's most experienced implant providers, with literally thousands of implant patients who are absolutely delighted with the results. Call Maupin and Brown today for an evaluation. You'll be surprised how affordable implants can be. Maupin and Brown, your choice for experienced, state-of-the-art dentistry.
This is Dallas Cowboys football 2022.
In the gun, Prescott, inside handoff, Elliott.
Only heard here.
Bouncing right with a convoy to the 5, near the pylon.
All season.
Touchdown, Ezekiel Elliott, 13 yards.
Sunday afternoon, it's your Cowboys and the Cincinnati Bengals.
Live from AT&T Stadium.
On this Dallas Cowboys radio network station.
Pregame 1:30, kickoff at 2:30 on Southeastern Mexico's official Cowboy station, 92.9 The Brand.
All right, welcome back here on Good Morning Artesia. Again, joined for Chamber Chat with Jessica Bowman. And I promise you we're going to let you talk about the Chamber, but we're going to talk a little bit about NFL football as promised. And so you were telling me there while we were off air about living in Denver for some time, and you became a Denver Broncos fan while you were there. But tell the folks out there, because I'd never heard of this, what you were just sharing with me. So talk about how you became a Denver Bronco fan.
Yeah, so, okay, I got moved to Denver in 2012. Our family did, and it was really fun. I made lots of good friends. We lived on the outskirts of town, but I reconnected with a childhood friend who, his wife, and I hit it off and became real good friends. Well, she calls me up and says, oh my gosh, there's this Crush Night at Broncos Stadium. Do you want to go? And I'm like, Crush Night? What do you mean Crush Night? She says, well, Orange Crush, they're orange and blue. And I'm like, okay. She says tickets are $40, and we get a tour of the stadium, see all the things, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This is perfect. So yes, it was, you buy your ticket. They only allow X amount of tickets. And when you go, you walk in to the mezzanine area. They give you a little goodie bag with all kinds of fun stuff. And there's like of course, there's a shop open that has all the things. There's jerseys and footballs and helmets and all those things you could buy. And then located 5 different stations around the entire stadium are rookie players that you can go get their autograph. And so I bought a little football, and I've got some autographs, and it was just really fun. Of course, you have to stand in line for like an hour and a half, and it's only a 3-hour deal. So you kind of keep tag teaming the line, and one person will stay in line, and you go and look at everything. But they had all these restaurants come in and bring cute little appetizers. You just pick one up and take it while you're going into your line. You get to tour the entire stadium. I got to see both locker rooms. Of course, the home team locker room, you could only you had to stay between the little thing that they didn't let you touch anything, of course. But the visitors locker room, they had one of the players in there. So you got to look at everything. We got to see both of at the time there was two Super Bowl trophies. You could not touch them. You could come within 1 inch, they said. So I have a picture with
Going like this.
1 inch, and I'm like right there next to him. It was so cool. And then at the end of the night, they bring you down onto the field. Of course, not on the turf, but on the outskirts of the field. And they have you all go up into the stands right there at the bottom. They bring out Miles. He's the Bronco. That's his name. He's the Bronco mascot. And then they bring out another rookie player. They all draw straws, and whoever gets the short stick has to do a equipment demonstration. And I didn't know what this, I thought, oh, we're going to the locker room now. What do you mean equipment demonstration? But they told us all about the equipment that they wear and how protective it is. And the helmet is made of this and that, and the pads and the jersey and all da-da-da-da. And it was really, really cool. And then they also tell you about the stadium. And so, Bronco Stadium specifically has a lot of metal, and they want everyone to stomp their feet really, 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 really loud, and it kind of starts shaking a little bit, and it's mile high, so it's not only are you already, if you're up in the top, you're already up in the clouds, but it's just very, I know Seattle is supposed to be 12th man, but it was cool just to hear the history about it and be there, be down on I don't know, it was really cool.
Is this a one time a year for women only, or do
women
they do multiple?
Only. Yes.
They don't do multiple times?
No. Once a year, and it actually is in October, so it's during football
So the games have already begun.
It's like on a Wednesday night,
randomly. The other thing that I think it's kind of interesting about that, there's a lot of things interesting about that they do that, but is that they wouldn't let you walk on the field.
No.
I wonder why. Did they say?
No.
When you got to do that?
Well,
did you only do it once, I guess? It's
once.
kind of a one-time.
Yeah,
then you
I
don't
got
need
to do it
again.
once. The rest of the time when we tried, it was sold out by the time we got
Oh, so you did try to do it more than once.
Well, yeah, because then there'll be different players, and I wanted to bring my
Oh,
football
yeah.
back every
Yeah,
year
yeah,
after
yeah.
year and get,
What was the number that they sold? Do you know how many tickets? No idea.
I don't know. I feel like it was like 300 or 500.
Oh, so pretty small.
Pretty small.
Pretty small group to walk through.
Yeah.
Years
because
ago.
when everyone's in that mezzanine, trying to move around and trying to wait in line to get autographs and stuff, it just becomes too long. But yeah, it was fun. I got I got a Virgil Green, something Green Jr. He was number 25 at the time, and then I got a number 85, but I don't remember. That's so bad. Neither one of them are with the Broncos anymore, but.
This was a few years ago when you did this. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I was trying to remember. I guess it was Jerry's World years ago, not too long after they opened the new stadium in Dallas. And I am not a Dallas Cowboys fan. I'm the polar opposite of that. So
You go for
I love
anyone
to,
they're playing.
Yeah. Well, I have my team, and then
Okay.
anybody that Dallas is playing. So yeah, I'm one of those guys. But anyway, I got to tour. I was there on a business trip, and Jerry Jones was actually the speaker at our dinner. We had dinner there in his
Suite.
I think. Well, it was a huge. It's on the end anyway. But we got to tour the stadium, kind of like what you're talking about.
Yeah.
There wasn't players involved, but yeah, they let us go out on the field. So yeah, we went out and threw the ball around, and some of the guys I was with, and kicked some field goals and things like that. So I just found it interesting. You said they didn't let you on the field.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because we had like food and drink, or if it's the high heels. I don't know.
Yeah,
I didn't wear
who
heels,
knows?
but-
It wasn't grass, was it, or was it natural turf? When you through there?
No.
Yeah, it was turf.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I'm
That
not
is
quite
interesting.
sure, but it was fun.
Well,
So
you're a Denver Bronco fan,
Yes.
and you didn't see the whole game last night, but you all saw parts of it.
Yes.
And you know what happened at the end.
Yes.
Feelings?
Well, of course it's sad. The quote unquote traitor goes to the next.
By the way, do you see him as that? Did you even know he got traded?
I did know he got traded, but
So
and
you're
I
more
did
than
see
a
some of the
casual fan.
signs.
You're
Yeah.
a fan.
And at the end of the day, it's a business, right?
Mhm.
So I get it that you're attached because I miss Von Miller.
And?
I really do, and Peyton Manning.
There you go.
First of all, he retired, but still, at the end of the day, it is a business, and I'm sorry, but if you're getting guaranteed $100 and whatever $1 million,
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, I would probably.
But
say
how
yes.
much is too much? That's a question I mean, he probably had a guaranteed contract with Seattle as well.
True.
But
That's
I
true.
always tell people this, and see if you agree or not. Saying too much money is like saying too much fun. I mean, can you have too much fun? Really? I don't think you can. So can you have too much money? I mean, money can definitely be it's just like everything else
be
we've
bad,
talked
yes.
about. It's how we use things, and so money can obviously be a bad thing,
Mhm.
but it also can be a very powerful tool.
Yes.
And so it depends on how
That's
you use
true.
it. And
That's
it is
true.
a business,
and
and
it
he
seems to be used around here very well.
yeah,
in Artesia.
I think so too.
Yeah.
It is a business, and so just like everything else, at the end of the day, and this is one of those terms that you'll hear pro athletes use all the time. At the end of the day,
At the end of the day.
I'm just looking out for my family, quote unquote. But let's segue right in. That was a great segue you said there. That used great in Artesia. Let's
Yes.
talk about the goings on with the chamber and all things Artesia. Why don't you give us some of that stuff?
Sorry, I'm sitting here trying to pull it up on my phone. There
That's
it is.
okay.
So yeah, today is actually kind of a busy day. We've got a Women for a Better Artesia that's happening today over at the administration building. It's a luncheon where you get to learn about our town. Of course, Women for a Better Artesia. Again, it's an girls only club, but it's a neat thing because we get to know different things and get involved in different things if we like. Today's topic is actually about volunteering. And so there's going to be lots of nonprofits there, the chamber included, that will have a little booth or a table set up so that we can showcase what we do and the volunteer opportunities people can have through these different organizations. So that'll be a really fun luncheon today, 12 o'clock at the administration building over here on Bulldog Boulevard.
And any woman is invited.
Yes. If you are a
leaving
woman
us
that
wants
wants
out.
to be, yes, sorry. Sorry, Toby.
That's okay.
But this weekend, moving forward on that is going to be the Fall Fiesta. The Arts Council, Artesia Arts Council, and Our Lady of Grace Church is putting that on. They put that on pretty much almost every year. I feel like it's at Jamaica Park, right there behind the church. Is that Jamaica Park?
No, that's
Guadalupe
Guadalupe Park.
Yes, thank you. Guadalupe Park. It'll be Saturday and Sunday. They're going to have, of course, amazing food. Just showcasing Hispanic heritage. And so they'll have entertainment, they'll have dancing, folklore, things like that. Crafts for kids.
You said this is Friday and Saturday? Or
17th and 18th. Let's see.
Today's the 13th.
So yeah, Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday, yes, 17th and 18th. That'll be really fun. They'll have, I don't know the exact details on that, but it'll be this weekend, that's what I know. So hopefully the weather stays well for that.
Yeah,
fall kickoff.
I haven't seen whether that projected far out, but boy, we've had beautiful days recently, so maybe it'll stay that way through then. So today, women only at the Artesia High School
building.
Administration Building. It's a luncheon.
Lunch.
And again, you guys, you ladies will be discussing things that are going on in Artesia, things you can be involved in, things like that.
Volunteer opportunities.
Volunteer opportunities. You said something a while ago that our money is spent well, in your opinion, here in Artesia, and I tend to agree with that as well. My wife and I have recently started using and I don't know what the whole thing is called, but Walking Eagle Draw.
Oh yeah.
And I live here. You think I'd pay more attention, but I've noticed now that parts of it, at least, are sponsored by. And it got me to thinking. Last night when we were doing our walk, I saw on one end sponsored by Navajo Refining. I think that's what the sign says.
Yes.
And that area down there is different. They've obviously gone in and spent some of that money you're talking about and did some things. And so, I think our city, we're blessed to live here in my opinion, we're blessed to live in Artesia. I think we're a unique community. And when I talk to people outside of I call it a bubble.
Yes.
That we live in for a lot of reasons. I say we're in a bubble. But when I talk about our community, I am tickled that I get to kind of brag about it, because I think we're very blessed. We've got a lot of good people that want to volunteer, that want to be part, that want to take part in everything going on. And of course, you guys at the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm sure you've talked about this plenty before, but I'm going to give you an opportunity, and maybe people don't know, maybe they've never heard you guys talk about this, but kind of walk through what is the purpose of it. And most towns, I think all of them have chambers of commerce.
Yep.
I happen to think that our Chamber of Commerce maybe does better than most places. Maybe they don't. Maybe it's in the eye of the beholder. I think you guys do a wonderful job. But what is the purpose of the Chamber of Commerce?
Well, yes, you are right. Our chamber is a little bit different in that most chambers, we have the whole purpose is to keep things local and to help local businesses. It's a membership-based organization, so we are nonprofit, but we're the 501c6 nonprofit. So membership-based, and that's what helps us keep our lights on. People pay a membership fee. That's an annual fee. And then in return, you get us. You get our resources. You get networking opportunities, which to me, when I did live in Denver, I had a small wine shop that I worked from home, which I still do that on the side. But I joined the chamber because it really helped me get to know people in the area, network with other businesses, network with like-minded business owners and things like that. And so that's one of the big things that we do, the biggest things that we do. But then we also, of course, we put on events, which I think is a little bit different than at some other chambers. We do a lot of legislative activity. We really try to bring the causes that we have locally here with our small businesses, big or small businesses, I guess, to legislators and to Santa Fe, so that they have a voice that's heard. We try to help them with marketing. We try to help them with their small events that they have something going on. So yeah, I mean, we do a lot. It's really funny because Haley will ask us for our reports once a month. She's like, okay, I got a report to the board. Tell me everything you've been doing. And we all send all of the things that we've been doing. And she's like, oh my goodness. Every month she's like, we do a lot. I'm like, yes.
So how many are we? How many people is she asking for reports
right
from?
now.
3 of you.
Yeah, well, her and then myself and Nicole. Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
yeah. For such a small chamber.
For such a small chamber, but you guys do big things, as you pointed out.
And going back to the volunteers, that's why we can do big things, because we do have a great volunteer base that comes and helps us knock out. I mean, we just had our Clays Crusher Fun Shoot, I guess 2 weeks ago now, and it takes a village to put that on. It takes a good 12 to 15 volunteers, and it was amazing. On top of what we're there to help do. So it was amazing to have people step up, help us out. Anything from just putting ice in coolers out on the courses, that takes a body to go do. And we're stuck up at the pavilion doing registrations. So It was awesome.
So it's good to have volunteers, is what you're saying.
It is
And
wonderful,
So
yes.
anybody out there that's listening and or watching us here on Good Morning Artesia, volunteer.
Volunteer.
You guys have stuff wide range of activities. So people that are listening and or watching, if you have things that you like, more than likely the Chamber of Commerce is going to have something up your alley.
Yeah.
And you guys are always looking for volunteers. And so how do they do that? How do they go about being a volunteer?
Well, yeah, they can stop by. So we're located in the old train depot over here at 107 North 1st Street, just right behind the brewer station, which is actually a gorgeous, gorgeous building with a ton of history. Or they can give us a call, 575-746-2744.
Memorizing numbers, they just come so easily to us. Our brains are powerful.
I know. Do you remember your very first phone number?
I remember our phone number at my house.
Yes.
And then, I don't know if this is something or not, but my very first cell phone number, I still have today.
What?
Yeah.
Do I?
I got it in the 90s.
Really?
Yeah. My very first personal cell phone number, I got in the 90s, and I still have it today.
That's awesome.
I don't know if it's awesome or not, but I have the same phone number.
No, I think that's
so yes,
really
I remember my phone number.
Right? I remember my very first home phone number, and I don't know why. Why is our brain? I guess numbers come easier.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know what we do. But before I let you go,
yes,
I'm going to let you make the decision as the head football coach for the Denver Broncos. Last night, you got over a minute to go or somewhere in that range. You've got a Hall of Fame quarterback, and you want to win the ball game. You're down by 1. You got all 3 timeouts left. Do you make the call when it's 4th and 5 to go for it, or do you make the call to kick a hopefully game-winning 60-plus yard field goal? Go.
I would throw the ball.
You would throw it.
Yes.
So you would run an offensive play with 4th and 5.
Yes.
And
because
you would
he's
throw
really
it.
good at throwing.
Okay.
In fact, even last night, my husband, and I'm taking these tips from him, he's in all these fantasy football leagues and all the things, right? So he kept saying, man, let him throw it. And then the next play, the guy would throw it, and they would get like 30 yards. So I would throw the ball.
It's interesting, and we do have to wrap it up here as we end this hour, but Russell Wilson is known for Seattle. They lost a Super Bowl.
For throwing?
Well, they have a monster running back. They're in the last few seconds of the ball game. They're on the 1 or 2 yard line, and he throws an interception.
Oh.
I don't know if you remember that Super Bowl.
I don't remember that.
But no, I'm going to agree with you. I think I go for it. Try to get closer. We got all 3 of our timeouts.
Yes.
So we're armchair quarterbacks.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
there's one more thing this weekend I want to tell people about real fast before we go. Yucca Blossom is also this weekend. It's out at the county fairgrounds. I'm sure you guys have heard that on the radio as well. It's over 90 booths you can shop at. Start your Christmas shopping already. I know it's September, but you know.
Good place to start.
Yucca Blossom out at the Eddy County Fairgrounds, Saturday and Sunday.
And what time?
Saturday, 9 to 5, I think, and Sunday, 11 to 4, I believe.
Okay. Well, you heard it here. Make sure you get out there and get your Christmas shopping started.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us today, and we're going to go ahead and get a break going. We'll be back for the 9 o'clock. The 9 o'clock hour coming up.
This is the KSVP Community Calendar, a look at things to do in Artesia, Eddy County, and the Pecos Valley. Children's programs at the Artesia Public Library include preschool story time Tuesdays at 10 a.m., toddler move and play Thursdays at 11 a.m., Mother Goose Wednesdays at 10 a.m., and for grades K through 6, STEAM after school Thursdays at 4 p.m. at the Artesia Public Library. There's a volunteer opportunity to operate model trains at the Eastern New Mexico State Fair in Roswell. This year, the club is opening the layout to volunteers. Days needed are 1 to 5, hours required per day 3 to 4, snacks and drinks included. There will be practice sessions on Saturday mornings in September. If you're interested, send an email to pecosvalleymrr@gmail.com. To have your event listed on the KSVP Community Calendar, email calendar@ksvpradio.com. Please let us know at least 1 week in advance.
This is KSVP and K229AS Artesia.
Positive spin on the inflation numbers.
Consumer prices inched higher last month, even though gas prices continued to fall. As a result, inflation rose more than analysts expected. In a White House statement, the president focused on falling prices at the gas pump and an increase in real wages. While he said the data represent welcome news for American families, he acknowledged it will take more time to bring inflation down. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Ukrainian forces have suddenly gained the upper hand, but that is not silencing the Russian guns. The Ukrainian war rages on.
Ukraine's lightning advance has had Russian troops on the run in the country's northeast. That's not stopped the Russian attacks, though. Firefighters have been kept busy in Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest city, and a constant target of shelling, as has been Nikopol, across the river from the Zaporizhia nuclear plant.
The situation is untenable.
International Atomic Energy Agency Chief Rafael Grossi.
And we see that one day we repair one line, only to see it go down the next day and to wonder what is going to happen.
He says the warring sides must agree to a nuclear safety zone. I'm Ben Thomas.
Freight railroads and their unions facing increasing pressure from business groups and the White House to settle their contract dispute. Friday's strike deadline looms. There are fears that a walkout could devastate an already fragile economy. Watching Wall Street, the Dow down 859 points, a loss of close to 3%. The NASDAQ is off 474 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
If you or a family member lived or worked at the Camp Lejeune military base from 1953 to 1987 and developed health issues that required hospitalization or extended treatment as a result of drinking toxic water on base, then you may be eligible to file a claim. Call BD Law Group now at 800-292-2972 to see if you qualify for compensation. Those who lived and worked at Camp Lejeune have shown an increased risk for several types of cancers and other serious illnesses: female infertility, leukemia, kidney cancer, birth defects, lung cancer. Veterans, their families, military personnel, and civilian workers call BD Law Group now at 800-292-2972 to see if you or your loved ones qualify for compensation. BD Law Group will never collect any fees unless we win compensation in your case. Call BD Law Group now at 800-292-2972. Call 800-292-2972.
Armenia's prime minister says 49 soldiers have been killed in nighttime attacks by Azerbaijan.
According to the Armenian Defense Ministry, Azerbaijan carried out a series of strikes using artillery, mortars and drones on settlements and towns inside Armenian territory in the early hours on Tuesday. Azerbaijan said it was responding to provocations from the Armenian side. The Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan said he had requested Russian military assistance based on a security agreement between the two countries.
And that's BBC's Rehan Dmitry. A German court tossing out a lawsuit from an environmental group which sought to bar automaker Mercedes-Benz from selling cars with internal combustion engines after the year 2030. State court in Stuttgart saying that such decisions are up to lawmakers and not the court. News and analysis, townhall.com. It was Scotland where Queen Elizabeth II died, and it was Scotland that held a special place in the monarch's heart.
Queen Elizabeth passed away last week at Balmoral Castle in northern Scotland, a place where she spent much of her childhood and as an adult kept as a summer home. It was there she returned to die peacefully, surrounded by family. The Queen had Scottish ancestry on both sides of her family. Both her parents had a common ancestor in 14th century Robert II, King of Scots. In a 2012 visit, the Queen said Scotland played a very special role in her family's lives through the years. In her last photo, taken at Balmoral Castle 2 days before she died, the Queen was wearing her tartan skirt. Tasha Stevens reporting.
No school again today in Seattle, but there is a tentative agreement to end the strike by public school teachers. Today, day 5 of the walkout authorized by the rank and file a week ago. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Today's KSVIP is Jimmy Smith. Jimmy owns Artesia Plumbing and Heating, and tomorrow is Jimmy's birthday. Happy birthday! We hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. Today, Jimmy, you're going to receive a flower from Lovebud Floral and KSVP. Today's KSVIP, Jimmy Smith.
They see me mowing
too white and nerdy. Can't you see I'm white and nerdy? Look at me, I'm white and nerdy. I wanna roll with the gangsters, but so far they all think I'm too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. I'm just too white and nerdy. Really, really white and nerdy.
My class there at MIT. Got skills, I'm a champion of D&D. MC Escher, that's my favorite MC. Keep your 40 out, just have an Earl Grey tea. My rims never spin, to the contrary. You'll find that they're quite stationary. All of my action figures are cherry. Stephen Hawking's in my library. My MySpace page is all totally pimped out. Got people begging for my top 8 spaces. Yo, I know pie to 1,000 places. Ain't got no grills, but I still wear braces. I order all of my sandwiches with mayonnaise. I'm a whiz and minesweeper, I can play for days. Once you see my sweet moves, you're gonna stay amazed. My fingers moving so fast, I'll set the place ablaze. There's no killer rap I haven't run.
Well, welcome back here to Good Morning Artesia. Joby Hodling in for Gene Dow. And just a reminder, keep Gene and his family, his mother-in-law, in your prayers, as she has health issues, so we'll remember them. But great to have you joining us here today on the Good Morning Artesia show. And we've been talking, we just had chamber chat and have got a lot of great information from Jessica Bolema. So we appreciate the Chamber of Commerce here in Artesia and all the things that they do, and great information they provide, and the things that they, they're involved so heavily in everything that's going on in Artesia, and bring so much to the citizens here. And I definitely appreciate them. And the other thing that she mentioned is that she believes that Artesia spends its money pretty well. And I mentioned the walk around Eagle Draw, and of course, just like probably most other Artesians, I drive by Eagle Draw all the time, and I could see it, and I see people utilizing that walking path, and there's some exercise equipment along the way, I think, and there's trees and grass and just a nice place, beautiful homes on either side, and but I'd never really utilized it for what it's for, which is a walking path, until recently, and Pam and I started using it, and it is just really neat that we've got a place, and I guess most towns probably do, but we've got a place where we can go and walk or jog or whatever you want to do, ride your bike, I guess, whatever you want to do, and get some exercise, get some fresh air, and it's sponsored by different organizations. Probably the city mostly put that in, but there's a chance and opportunity. And I was wondering, and I failed to ask Jessica this if she knew, but I was wondering if any business could sponsor part of that path, and that's probably true, probably can. And so, but yeah, neat thing to have here in Artesia. I've just recently started utilizing that piece of our community, and so if you've never used it and you want to get a little bit of fresh air and get some good exercise, go use the Eagle Draw walking path. It's pretty cool. And speaking of being outside and getting some fresh air, we've had some very beautiful weather here as we get into the fall time of the season. And so let's take our weather break. Let's hear what's going on out there as in terms of our local and area weather. We'll be right back.
Across eastern New Mexico, and we do have just enough moist air for an afternoon shower or thunderstorm. Otherwise, we'll get a mix of sunshine and clouds. Scattered showers and a few thunderstorms for the overnight hours. Our low dropping to about 65, and then we have a chance of afternoon thunderstorms again on Wednesday, mid-80s. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
All right, so Steve gives us our local weather forecast. Of course, I'm looking at one of our mini screens that Gene utilizes here on the Good Morning Artesia show. And Jeff put it up there for me. Around our part of the state, the highs today, Hobbs, New Mexico, 90 degrees, with looks like clear skies on my screen that I'm looking at, just a bright sun. Roswell with some partly cloudy skies, also a high of 90 projected. Carlsbad, 92 with clear skies, it appears, just bright sunshine. As I'm looking out of the studios here at Pecos Valley Broadcasting and KSVP Radio, I see a lot of sunshine. I do see a few scattered clouds out there. I combined clouds and scattered there for clattered. Artesia, right here in our hometown, 91 degrees is our projected high with those clattered skies. scattered clouds up in our skies today. So another beautiful day here in Artesia. Still warm. We're in the fall, of course, September, but we are blessed with our weather being, I think it's a blessing. A lot of people can't wait for the cold. I don't remember who it was. Somebody was talking this week. It may have been at church, or I'm not sure where I was at, but somebody said they can't wait for the cold weather. They want cold weather, and I'm one of those guys that I don't know if it's I can't make up my mind or if it's just how I'm built, but I kind of like all the weathers. I like it hot. I love the summer months. I love the months leading into summer, which is spring. Now, I'm not a big fan of the wind, which we get our fair share of here in southeast New Mexico, kind of year-round, but definitely during the spring. But I like the spring months. You know, everything's starting to turn green and perk up. I love the summer. I love the heat. But then I like the fall, which is where we're at now. I love all things fall. I really am a big football guy, even though, as I shared earlier, I've kind of gotten away from the NFL, but I really like to watch college football. And of course, I love high school sports and high school football. Being a Bulldog myself as a player, and then getting to watch my brothers come through the program, and then our kids, my brothers and I, and watching our daughters and our sons come up through the Artesia public school systems. We're very blessed to do that, and so got to watch all the sports with our kids playing, and now as a half a century plus guy, as a 51-year-old, I've got grandkids, and so they're little right now, but they're coming, and theoretically, if we're still in Artesia, if my grandkids get to come through the Artesia sports and Artesia programs, period, you know, I'll get to partake in that as well. And so as a sports guy, and football probably being my most favorite, I still love to watch Artesia volleyball and Artesia basketball, both girls and boys, and Artesia softball and baseball. And, you know, of course, we got all kinds of other sports too, and all kinds of other activities here in Artesia. And it's, when I was talking to Jessica earlier, if you missed it, I talked about, and I share this with people outside of Artesia. I've got friends and family all over the place, just like everybody does, and I talk about Artesia being in a bubble and how blessed we are. And you know, we've got our sports, but we've got so much more for our students, and so many. Back to sports, we got so many sports. I mean, we're blessed with fantastic programs kind of across the board, with cross country and with bowling and with track and field, and then we've got all of the other activities that our kids can be involved in, from things like FFA and ag, choir, you know, band. All of these things are just so well managed, so well taken care of, have such great community support. And so that's one of the things about Artesia that I consider us living in a bubble and having all of these things, you know, right at our fingertips. If you want to be involved, there's a lot to be involved with in Artesia. And so hopefully you are. Hopefully you've got things that you're excited about, things that you're passionate about. It doesn't have to be sports, doesn't have to be band, I mean, it can be all of those things. It can be a lot of other things. And so, you know, as somebody that tries to utilize my time, I'm sure that I need to be a lot better at it. But I try to be involved in a lot of stuff, and I have a lot of fun with that. I get to be involved here with Gene and Pecos Valley Broadcasting as I think 7 years ago now. I got to come on board and be part of the Bulldog Sports and getting to call those things on the radio. And I say get to, because I really mean that. I get to do it. It's a lot of fun, and it's just a blast to me to watch our student athletes do their jobs and to see how much fun they have playing their different sports. And but then, you know, getting to be involved in my local church and getting to be involved in my local bass club and get to go fishing, and I love to play golf. I mean, one of the things I think that happens or can happen, there's kind of two sides of the story, two extremes, and I know people that struggle with not being involved in anything, and I encourage them, find something you like to do and get involved, because there's a lot to do here in our town. And then the other extreme is somebody like me that tries to do everything. And so we only do have 168 hours in a week. If you didn't know, that's how many hours there are in a week. And so you've got to try to figure out how to utilize those things. But some years ago, back when I was at college, I think is really when this took hold of me. And that was, it became a pet peeve of mine. And that is hearing someone say, I don't have time for that. I say it became a pet peeve because here's what I believe. I think that as Americans, and maybe this isn't the case worldwide, in other countries, maybe it's not, but here, guys, we're free, right? I mean, we live in a free country, and I guess you could argue, some would argue, well, it's not so much free, and they'd have a lot of reasons they'd say it's not, but really we are. We're free to do what we want to do for the most part, and so that's what I think. When I hear someone say, and I've said it too, I'm not immune to having said this, but I just don't have time for that. What that means to me is that I don't want to do it. Now, I know there's probably going to be some backlash to that. Maybe I'll be out in public and somebody's going to say they heard me say that on the radio and they're going to disagree with me. But if you really stop and think about it, we make, as Americans, we make the time, and again, I'm saying that term, make the time. We're not making time in terms of adding more hours or more minutes to the day, but we're taking time out of our schedule, whatever our schedule is, and saying, I want to do that. It may be reading Facebook. It may be watching a television show. It may be watching a movie. It may be going to Bulldog sporting events. It may be going fishing, like I like to do. I like to go fishing. Well, that takes time, and so you've got to be able to figure out, how do I juggle my work life, which everybody's got to work unless you're independently wealthy, and even those folks, probably the way they got to be independently wealthy is because of their work ethic. But we've got to juggle that with our families, our work, our families, and then those things that we like to do. And so when I hear people say that they just don't have time to do something, my thoughts are, well, you don't want to do it in place of something else. And I think that if people really think about that, they end up agreeing, because it may be, well, I don't have time to go fishing, for example, because I've had people say, how do you have time to go fishing the way that I do? And so the way that I go fishing is I go to tournaments. Well, there's a set time you got to be there, a set time, you fish so many hours, and then set time you got to be off the lake. So it's a weekend kind of a deal, or at least in my case, usually a full Saturday. And in our part of the country, we don't have a lot of water, so our club has to travel. I mean, we fish at Brantley, and we're blessed to have Brantley Lake, but other than that, we got to travel 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 hours to get to another lake and fish. So you've got travel time, and if you're like me and you're crazy, a lot of times you leave after a Bulldog game and travel all night to some out-of-town destination and then fish all day the next day. And so people say, how do you have time for that? Well, the reason how I do is I choose on those, usually it's one weekend a month, I choose that Saturday and or Sunday. That's how I'm going to spend it. And so I make that decision. Some people say, no, I would rather work around my yard on Saturday, so I don't have time to go fishing. Well, that's true. Your decision is to work around your yard. That's just an example, but you get my drift. And so we talked about social media earlier here in the hour, and or the last hour and the first hour of the show. And social media, as I said, has so many positive things. I can just name item after item after item that makes social media very positive, but I can also name item after item after item that makes social media very negative. And one of the big negatives I've heard about it is that it is, as I think Jessica used this term, she said, time suck. It pulls our time from us, and before we know it, if we're not careful, we've just been sitting there on Facebook, and I guess on most social media platforms, you're scrolling. You're looking at your screen, whether it be a computer screen or your phone or your iPad or whatever you use as your screen, and you're scrolling and you're looking at information that other people have put on there. It could be ads, it could be personal information, whatever, their stories, whatever's going on, and you're scrolling, and I believe this, I know it because it's happened to me. Before you know it, you've spent 20 minutes or 40 minutes or an hour, and you haven't done anything else but look at that screen. And I've had people tell me that, that's why they don't like social media, because it can be a time suck. And that's true, it can be. Self-discipline is required. But, TV's been around a long time, and TV can be, using that same terminology, a time suck, because we can get stuck, or we can get engrossed in a TV program. And wow, from when I was growing up to today, and most people can relate to this, except for young kids, they're not going to understand what I'm about to say, because it's unfathomable to them that, when I was growing up, basically there were 3 channels when I was a young person, and that was it. And now, there's, who knows, thousands, I guess, of channels that you can watch. And then you add on top of that all the things else you can watch on screens, which include all the social media and all of that stuff. And you've got the ability today. We were just talking about this family. I think it maybe in me and my wife, or it may have been my oldest son and his wife. I can't remember, but recently we were talking about the fact that, you can watch a show, and it's that term binge watching, because nowadays shows, as long as they've been on already at one time on some screen somewhere, they're still there, and you can go start a TV program, for example, and that started 10 years ago, and you could, if you have the desire to do so, you can sit in front of a TV screen and just watch episode after episode after episode all in a row, and that's called binge watching. The time suck there is that you just watch TV shows over and over and over again. And I'm gonna use an example with my wife. She likes to watch scary movies. She likes horror movies. She likes those kind of movies, and she, my time suck may be going fishing all day on a Saturday. Hers might be, I'm not going to do anything else today but make me some popcorn and watch 2 or 3 movies in a row. And there you go. There's 2 to 4 to 6 hours, depending on how many movies you watch or how many programs you watch on your television set. So Facebook, all social media can obviously be very negative in that way, can take time away from doing maybe what we would consider more productive things. But on the other hand, they can also be a very valuable tool, as Jessica talked about. The Chamber utilizes that. Most businesses do, to put their product in front of the desired audience, people that are interested in what's going on with your business, or maybe like your products, or want to be involved in what you have going on, like the Chamber. And I love the fact that she pointed out that we have great volunteers in our community, and I hope that you, if you find things interesting that they're doing, volunteer for it. You heard you can go down to the Chamber office, or you can call them, and you can just look on your device and find their phone number really easy. Don't even have to look it up in a phone book anymore. But yeah, get involved with Artesia, whatever things that you like to do. And I know this is something that I think Gene probably talks about all the time, but that's available to us. And this show is a great example of that. Our Good Morning Artesia brings a lot of information that about our local community, and you get a lot of, in my case, I've talked about 2 big things, which was social media and then what happened last night in the NFL. But there's also just so many things going on in our community, and I certainly, for one, appreciate Good Morning Artesia and all that Gene Dow does, and the things that Pecos Valley Broadcasting are involved in our community, making it so that people all over the world can watch our events, whether it be at the auditorium, whether it be out at the FLETC, lots of stuff that Pecos Valley Broadcasting covers, not just Bulldog Sports, although Bulldog Sports is one of those items as well, and people get to watch that. And we've got Bulldog fans, all over the world, and I know that they like to tune into Artesia and see what's going on. So again, Pecos Valley Broadcasting does such a fantastic job of bringing all that stuff to the world. All right, so we're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to get Aaron Irving on the call on a Zoom meeting, and we're going to talk about what's going on in the financial world today. So stay tuned right there. We'll be back.
Hi, I'm Dr. Keon at Carabelli Dental. Same-day smiles are what we do. My passion is helping patients chew, talk, and live with confidence. That's why I'm one of the few doctors in the U.S. who can create beautiful same-day smiles with the latest digital implant technology. This procedure is life-changing. Just ask Sean.
Hi, I'm Sean. I've been that voice that you've heard on the radio for most of my life, but I'm also a dad to 2 amazing kids. I've had a million reasons to smile, but in all my old pictures, I was never smiling. Truth is that life of improper care and being dealt a bad hand genetically left me practically with no teeth. It affected everything from the way I ate, the way I talked, and of course how I interacted with people. And that's where Dr. Keon and Carabelli stepped in. They eased my fears. They explained every step of the process in a way that I could understand, and they made me feel almost like I was part of the team. And now I can't stop smiling. I have so much more confidence, and I love looking in the mirror now. I can't explain how much of a difference Dr. Keon's dental implant process made for me.
Our team can help you find your smile too. Come see us at Carabelli Dental, 575-622-4455.
Southeast New Mexico College offers a variety of associate degrees and certificates to help you pursue your educational goals. You'll find high-quality, affordable associate programs like business and nursing. Certificate programs like natural gas compression, welding, and industrial maintenance are offered to serve the common needs. Find your direction at SENMC. Navigate new pathways through higher learning at Southeast New Mexico College. Learn more at senmc.edu. Your Artesia Bulldogs are blazing through the season, and coming up this Friday, the boys are back on the road headed to Cleveland High to take on the Storm. KSVP AM and FM and KSVPTV.com are your source for all things Bulldogs. Join Joby Hodling and Robbie Ballou for audio-only coverage beginning with the pregame at 6:30 and kickoff at 7. Bulldogs versus the Storm of Cleveland High. Friday night beginning at 6:30 on KSVP AM and FM and audio coverage at KSVPTV.com. Southeastern New Mexico's sports authority, then, now, and always.
Welcome back here to the Good Morning Artesia Show. Joby Hodling, joined now by Mr. Aaron Irving. And Aaron, I don't know if you knew that you were going to have to talk to me today, but good to have you this morning. And now, hold on, Aaron. I don't know what I'm doing wrong here, but right now I can't hear you. So hold on just a second. All right, Aaron, are you there?
Can you hear me now?
Oh, there was a button that needs to be pushed. Guess that.
Gene misses that button too, so you're not alone.
He does? Well, I didn't push the right button. I thought I had you pushed, but I did not. So good to have you this morning. Did you know that you were going to not have your normal commentator this morning? Or did you just come on and see my face and go, who's that guy?
Is in honor of you for fishing there, so.
Nice. Let's see what this guy does here. His cat. He's going to catch a cat. Well, look at that. Big old, that looks like a carp. So if you're watching here on KSVP Facebook page, you can see that Aaron is showing some fishing stuff from me. Now, none of those fishing stuff, he's going to eat is he going to eat that, or he's just throwing it away?
He had to kill it to put it on his sandwich.
Oh, okay. He's killing that poor little goldfish or whatever that fish is. So, Aaron, what's going on today? I know that I get to listen to you guys, and I was telling the crowd earlier that one of my highlights of the day, if I'm not doing something where I can't be listening to the radio, I listen to you and Gene because y'all always crack me up. So, what's going on today in your world?
Well, it's good to be able to put a smile on people's faces, especially when the market's doing what it is today. So,
well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's smile for a while before we get to the market.
All we talked about on the market.
So when you say bring smiles to faces, is this something that you kind of just developed here with Gene, or is it something that you like to do just out there in your daily life? Do you tell a lot of jokes?
I don't do a lot. I did when I was younger. Of course, when Dave was around, he kind of got everything started
right.
with being the Joker broker and everything. So I wanted to carry on that tradition after he passed away. And I do have a sense of humor in that, but I've got to look up the jokes.
Well, and I'm going to tell you honestly, when Gene asked me if I could help out and be here this morning and possibly the next 3 days, we'll see how it goes. But one of the things I thought about was, I better get some jokes. And then you know what I did? I didn't get any jokes.
Oh.
I thought about it. I thought, I know that Aaron's going to be on, and he and Gene always have a good repertoire with jokes and things like that. And I told myself, this was yesterday afternoon-ish, whenever I looked at my schedule, and I thought, I'll go ahead, because Gene had asked me, said, if you can, could you, if you could come in and do the Good Morning Artesia show. And so I thought about it first. I didn't just answer immediately, but then I ended up texting him. But it's truthful. Truly, I thought that's how big you guys are. I mean, you guys are big. I don't know if you knew that, but
Wow.
y'all are big in Artesia.
You're gonna give me the big head now.
Yeah, I know you're gonna have a hard time getting out of your office. So anyway, I thought about it. I thought I better get some jokes. And then of course I went on with my day, and I was busy as everyone is. And then even this morning when I got up, I get up pretty early every morning, and I have a kind of a routine that I try to develop. And even then, I thought about it. I better get some jokes, and then immediately I forgot. So it shows you how long my train of thought goes. But you got anything going on this morning, or any fishing stuff? You got all these cool fishing stuff behind you.
Yeah, I pulled out a few fishing jokes for you.
Okay.
So, first I'll tell you a story here.
Okay.
And so a couple young boys were fishing at their special pond off the beaten track. All of a sudden, the game warden jumped out of the bushes, and immediately one of the kids threw his rod down and started running through the woods like crazy. The game warden was hot on his heels, and after about a half a mile, the young man stopped and stooped over with his hands on his thighs just to catch his breath. So the game warden finally caught up to him and said, "Let's see your fishing license, son." With that, the boy pulled out his wallet and gave the game warden a valid fishing license. "Well, son," said the game warden, "you must be about as dumb as a box of rocks. You don't have to run from me if you have a valid license." "Yes, sir," replied the young guy, "but my friend back there didn't have one."
Nice. That's about right, and that kind of goes along with the story I heard. One time there was a guy on the bank of a lake, and he was fishing, and he had him, on the boats we have what we call live wells where we keep our fish alive. But this guy was bank fishing, kind of like that guy there on the screen is doing. He's trying to bank fish, and he's catching a cat. But anyway, this guy was bank fishing, and he had a bucket that he had I can't think what they're called now, but he had his fish that he'd been catching all day. Still alive. They were in his keeper. What's the term? I don't remember. But anyway, he has them, and the game warden comes up on him and sees the guy. He's got a bunch of fish, all alive, but he's got them there on the side of the shore. And the game warden starts talking to him. "Hey, how's the fishing?" "Oh, it's great." And he goes, "Well, I need to see a license." "Well, I don't have a license." "Well, what do you mean you have to have a license in the state?" And he goes, "No, these are my pet fish. These are my fish. They're my pets, and we have fun doing what we do." And he goes, "Nah," the game warden says, I don't think so." He goes, "Look, I can prove it to you." He goes, "Well, how are you going to prove that those are your pet fish?" He goes, is that a catfish drinking a beer?" That's funny.
Yes.
So anyway, the game warden, now intrigued, and he knows, and then that guy falls in the lake. By the way, I fell in the lake recently, and I've fallen in more than my care to mention, so that I've never done that, but I have fallen in. Anyway, so the game warden says, "Well, you say you can prove to me that these are your pet fish. In our state, you got to have a license to fish, but you're claiming you don't have to because these are your fish," and yada yada yada. And the guy says, "Yeah, I'll show you, Mr. Game Warden." He goes, "Okay, go ahead." So he picks up his bag of fish. They're all alive, and he opens the lid and he pours them into the lake. And of course, the fish are all alive, so they start swimming off. And he goes, "So how are you going to prove?" He says, "They're going to come back to me after I pour them into the lake. I'm going to show you they're going to come back because they're my pet fish." And the game warden says, "Go ahead." So he pours them into the lake, and they swim off. And they stand there for a minute, and the guy just stands there, and the game warden waits a minute, and he's looking, and he says, "Where are all your fish, all your pet fish?" And the guy says, "What are you talking about?" And he says, "Well, you had all these fish. You're fishing without a license. I need to see," and he goes, "I'm not fishing. I don't have a license. I can't fish. I don't have any fish." So, it's one of those things where the guy tricks the game warden. "I don't have any fish." I've never tried that before, and I don't plan on trying it anytime soon.
Yeah, you might get like an extra ticket on top of it just for
just for being a fibber.
Right.
Yeah, I was, when we're out on these lakes, as you know, because you knew I'm a fishing guy, because you brought up fishing stuff behind you. But when I fish these tournaments, one of the things I don't want to forget is having my fishing license on me, because it's possible that we'll get checked. And but truthfully, I've been fishing, I guess, in tournaments now for, I don't know, 10 years or so, maybe 12, 13 years, and I've only been checked a handful of times. So, these lakes are big bodies of water. There's only so many game wardens go around in these tournaments. So, but it does happen. So as a angler, as a fisherman, I encourage people, buy your fishing license and have that on you, because it is what we got to do. So what other things you got about fishing, or any other jokes?
Sure. What do fish use for money?
Let me think. What do fish use for money? I don't know. What?
Sand dollars.
Sand dollars. Okay. All right. That makes sense.
Where do fish sleep?
Fish sleep. I should know this one. Let me think. Where do fish sleep? In the pool.
Riverbed.
Riverbed. I knew I should have known it. I couldn't think. All right. What else you got?
Now, I've got motherly advice to a daughter. She said, you cook a man a fish and you feed him for a day, but you teach a man to fish and you get rid of him for the whole weekend.
Boy, that's the truth. And I'm going to say this about that. Early on in my fishing career, it would aggravate my wife that I was gone for a weekend or, for a couple of days. Now, later in my life, in my fishing career, I don't think she minds so much. I think she's the mother giving the motherly. Right? Yeah, I think she's the mother giving the motherly advice. And it's kind of funny that way. The younger guys in our club, for example, I hear them joke and talk about, and I don't know if they're joking, but they say, I can't make that when my wife doesn't want me to go. And so as an older guy in the club, now, years later, where my wife is kind of like what you just said, kind of pushing me out the door, give me a free weekend here. I tease them, and I say, that's too bad. You can't go fishing because your wife won't let you. But the day is coming when she'll encourage you.
That's right. All right. I'll give you one more for the road, and then I guess I better do the market report.
Okay.
So, what's the difference between a catfish and a lawyer?
Catfish and a lawyer, you can throw the catfish back?
That too, but one is a bottom-dwelling, scum-sucking scavenger.
Okay.
And the other is a fish.
Right. All right. And I take that a little personal, because I'm not a lawyer, but early in my career, I wanted to be. I went to college and was in the pre-law program, and then decided to not pursue that, and pursued business instead. But yeah, every time I hear lawyer jokes, Aaron, I always think that. I think, man, that's kind of tough, because not all lawyers are terrible.
Yeah, you just picture don't picture in your mind the good lawyers out there. There are a couple.
Yeah.
But put in your mind those ambulance chasers and those type of lawyers that
seem to be
make the world a worse place.
Right, to seem to be in it for only one reason.
Right.
And I guess it's money. I don't know.
Power, I guess.
And power. All right. Well, speaking of money, why don't you go ahead and give us our daily report?
All right. This is Aaron Irving with LPL Financial, member of FINRA and the SIPC, bringing you your mid-morning stock market report for Tuesday, September 13th. Stocks fell sharply this morning after a key August inflation report came in hotter than expected, hurting investor optimism for cooling prices and also a less aggressive Federal Reserve. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped 2.7%, while the S&P 500 was 3% lower, and the NASDAQ Composite sank 3.9%. More than 490 stocks in the S&P 500 fell, with Facebook parent Meta dropping 7.6% and Caesars Entertainment losing 6.7%. The drop erased a large chunk of the recent rally for stocks, but the S&P 500 is still up about 2% from its September 6th close of 3,908 and is comfortably above its mid-June levels when it fell below 3,700. The August Consumer Price Index report showed a higher than expected reading for inflation. Headline inflation rose 0.1% month over month, even with falling gas prices. Core inflation rose 0.6% month over month, and on a year-over basis was up 8.3%. The Economists surveyed by Dow Jones had been expecting a decline of 0.1% for overall inflation, with a rise of 0.3% for core. This report is one of the last the Fed will see ahead of their September 20th and 21st meeting, where the central bank is expected to deliver their third consecutive 0.75 percentage point interest rate hike to tamp down inflation. Today's sell-off was particularly painful in high-growth tech stocks, with Cloudflare falling 10%, while Unity Software sank more than 11%. Currently, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 862 points to 31,519. The S&P 500 is 126 points lower at 3,984, and the Nasdaq Composite is off 484 points to 11,781. West Texas Intermediate crude is down 73 cents a barrel to $87.05. Stocks of local interest: HF Sinclair is down 65 cents a share to $52.62. Walmart is $1.42 lower at $136.65 a share. EOG Resources is down $2.19 a share at $124.22. And ConocoPhillips is down $1.61 to $112.85 a share. This is Aaron Irving with Oakley & Irving Wealth Management, serving business owners and energy industry professionals in the Pecos Valley and beyond. You can find us at oiwealth.com or at our offices in Artesia and Carlsbad. You can call us at 575-887-7075. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. Securities are offered through LPL Financial, member of FINRA, and the SIPC.
Well, Aaron, you said we could smile before we got to the stock market report, and it sounds like everything's on that downward trend today.
Yeah. If you want to buy things on sale, today seems like it might be a good day to do it.
The sale is on, is what you're saying.
Yes, the fall. Welcome to fall sale.
And inflation, I touched a little bit on inflation earlier in the show, and I'm by no means anywhere close to your level of understanding of the markets and of everything in the economy, but inflation affects everything, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's crazy, and then our current administration keeps on throwing more money out there to make it even worse. So.
Yeah, the way that money is, as your term, throw it out there, actually increases inflation.
Yes. More money in the system creates higher prices and more demand, and it's just a vicious cycle that we if we look back to the 70s, we see that, and I'm sure President Carter is very happy to have somebody that's worse than he was in office.
I tell you, it's just an amazing thing to me, Aaron, that history, if we just look at history, and this pretty much crosses any walk of life, but you can look at history and say, okay, we can learn from the good things we did, and we can learn from the mistakes that were made. And yet it seems like, as you pointed out, since the 70s, we keep not learning from the mistakes that have been made.
We forget about those mistakes and do them once again. Yeah, absolutely.
It's just crazy to me. Well, Aaron, thank you for being here this morning. You'll be back this afternoon for the closing market reports. Have a great day.
You too.
All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and take another break. We're going to have the Pecos Valley News Update along with the Eddy County Sports Report. So stay tuned right here on the Good Morning Artesia show. We'll be back.
Now for a Pecos Valley News Update. I'm Jared Cirillo. A woman who was reportedly kidnapped from a casino in Hobbs last weekend has been found in Carlsbad. Hobbs police issued a statement that said officers responded to Zia Park Hotel and Casino for a reported kidnapping. They determined that a woman named Erica Martinez had been forced into a silver Chrysler 300 by a man named Jonathan Zaragoza. Both the man and the woman were found in Carlsbad late Saturday night, and both are in good shape. Police said criminal charges against Zaragoza were pending. The state's green chili season is in full swing as the aroma of fresh roasted peppers permeates the air. But growers and exporters in Mexico are just as busy, and that's causing a crunch at the international border. Authorities said Monday the agricultural inspectors with U.S. Customs have been processing dozens of chili imports every day at the port of entry in Columbus, New Mexico. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello reporting.
It's time for the Eddy County Sports Report. Got some soccer action going on tonight. Eddy County rivalry style. Artesia will be playing at Carlsbad in boys soccer. That starts at 6 o'clock tonight. Did you know the Artesia boys are 8-3 overall? Carlsbad's 5-5-1. Artesia last played on Saturday, defeating Clovis 2-1. Carlsbad 0-2-1 in its last three, lost 2-1 to Lovington also on Saturday. Meanwhile, the Carlsbad girls are also 0-2-1 in their last three. That's something the Cave girls aren't used to. They are 5-2-3 overall and will be playing at Artesia, which is 5-6, maybe 6-6 overall. We're a little confused by some of the results. Artesia defeated Santa Teresa 2-1 on Saturday. Carlsbad tied Hobbs on Saturday after losing to Piedra Vista and Los Alamos Thursday and Friday. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at KSVP Radio, AM 990.
Waking up on the right side. This is the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
Americans spent more on taxes in 2021 than on food, clothing, and health care combined, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So last year, once again, Americans spent more on average on taxes than they did on their food, clothing, and health care combined. Think about that. American consumer units spend an average of $15,495 on food, clothing, and health care, while paying an average of $16,729 in total taxes to federal, state, and local governments. You think there's something wrong with that?
From coast to coast, from sea to shining sea, it's the Sean Hannity Show.
War, inflation, and $30 trillion in debt. It's looking like 2008 all over again. Millions of Americans watch their retirement savings disappear, while those who invested in physical gold and silver were protected. And if you have $50,000 or more in your IRA, 401k, or savings, you could be at risk again. Right now, thousands of Americans are using an IRS loophole to add physical gold and silver to their retirement savings. So call 855-815-GOLD to get a free gold kit and learn how you could get $10,000 or more in free silver to protect your retirement savings. Goldco has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, and they have placed over $1 billion in precious metals. We could be looking at a recession worse than 2008, so don't wait. Call Goldco today. Call 855-815-GOLD. That's 855-815-GOLD.
Welcome back here to the Good Morning Artesia Show. We're in our final countdown here as we go towards the end of the show, and I just kind of wanted to look at what's upcoming this week for Artesia and Artesia High School. And of course, today is Tuesday, September 13th, and we've got JV and varsity boys soccer at Carlsbad, 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock this evening. If you are a soccer fan, you want to go watch those boys play, that's at Carlsbad. And the girls' JV and varsity soccer team will be here against Carlsbad, 4 and 6 out at the Mac Chase Complex. So I encourage you to go to one of those two places if you're a soccer fan and support the young men and women in their soccer endeavors this fall. Volleyball tonight, Artesia High School Bulldog Lady volleyball team is going to be over in Hobbs, and JV starts at 5:30 and then followed by the varsity action at 6:30. And so if you want to make it over there, I encourage you to do that and support our volleyball team as they are the defending state champs and look to continue their winning ways. Also this week going on around the state, New Mexico State Fair is going on. I know we've got young men and women up there from Artesia that are competing up there, so I encourage you to follow that. tomorrow, I didn't know this. Now that I'm an empty nester, I didn't realize, but tomorrow the high school, or for Artesia, early dismissal at 1:24. And then there is a meeting for juniors and seniors with Herb Jones tomorrow afternoon, and that's to, I think that has to do with their rings, their class rings. Thursday, JVB football, which is the sophomores, at Hobbs, 6 o'clock Thursday evening. And so you got that game to go to. Of course, the New Mexico State Fair continues with our folks that are representing Artesia up there. And then Friday, which is the 16th, we have JVB and JV Artesia volleyball tournament. And so that's here in town, and that's the JVB, which I believe is our sophomores. And then the JV team, the Artesia volleyball tournament, is going to be on Friday and Saturday, times to be announced. The New Mexico State Fair continues through the weekend. And then, of course, the Artesia Bulldog football team is traveling up to Cleveland, going to Rio Rancho, and taking on the Cleveland Storm. Now, an interesting fact there that you probably know but may not know, Artesia High School has never beaten the Cleveland Storm in football, and it's always a tough row to hoe for the Bulldogs because Cleveland is just another one of those big 6A powers, one of the biggest schools in the state. They got just athletes upon athletes, and so there's a reason why there's different divisions in high school football, and that's one of the reasons, because the more students you have to choose from, the more chances you have to have a bigger, faster team, and Cleveland is one of those teams, definitely. But the Artesia Bulldogs, they're getting on the bus. They're going to go, and they're going to give it all they got against the Cleveland Storm, and my guess is, I haven't seen anything out there that says this, but my guess is we are the underdogs, which is not a usual thing for the Artesia Bulldog football team to be the underdogs, but probably are going in against Cleveland. So we'll see how the Bulldogs do. They're having a great year so far, are the Artesia Bulldogs, and have played Carlsbad, got that win that started the season off back on August 19th, and then the next week went over to Hobbs and fell to the Hobbs Eagles in a high-scoring affair for our only loss of the season. And then a week ago, last Friday, had Belen here at home and was able to take care of business against another 5A school, and then, of course, homecoming against the Deming Wildcats, and got that win this past Friday. So now we get to go back on the road, the Bulldog football team, traveling to Cleveland this week, Friday the 16th, 7 p.m. up at Cleveland High School there in Rio Rancho. And then next Friday, going to travel over to Lovington. So 2 traveling games. Lovington, of course, a 4A school, but been back and forth. We've been in the same district over the years, and just happens to be right now they're not in our district. They're Class 4A in football. Class 4A in everything. The Bulldogs in football are Class 5A, but Class 4A in everything else. So Lovington actually in our district in all other sports, but in football they're not. They're Class 4A. But we get to travel over to Lovington, and then kind of rounding out September, we got our next home game, which is 3 weeks from this Friday, taking on the Santa Teresa Desert Warriors. So that's kind of September for the Bulldog football team. And, of course, you got volleyball. We've got soccer. We've got all these things going on. So be where you need to be, where you want to be. Also on Saturday, besides, or I hadn't got to Saturday, so we got Cleveland football Friday night. And then Saturday, JV football at Carlsbad, 2 p.m. in the afternoon. The JVB and the JV Artesia volleyball tournament continues on Saturday, starts on Friday and continues on Saturday. And those games to be announced depending on where they fall into the bracket and how they're doing. The New Mexico State Fair, of course, continues Saturday. We've got a rodeo at Grants, so our high school rodeo team will be up at Grants. And then varsity boys soccer versus St. Pius, and I believe that's here in Artesia. That's going to be at 7 p.m. Saturday evening. And then cross country will be at Carlsbad, an invitational, the Carlsbad invite, and that is starts at 9 a.m. Saturday morning. Pardon me, got a catch in my throat there. So a lot on tap for Artesia High School and the sports that are going on. And, of course, like I said, you got the State Fair going on all this week, and those that are representing Artesia up there, good luck to them if they haven't already shown. I hope that they all do well and get into the sale, and that's one of the big things in in these fairs is your goal as showing your animals is get into that sale ring, and so hopefully they all do that. All right, well, let's take another weather break and see what we've got going on in terms of weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty warm today. We'll be in the upper 80s and low 90s across eastern New Mexico, and we do have just enough moist air for an afternoon shower or thunderstorm. Otherwise, we'll get a mix of sunshine and clouds. Scattered showers and a few thunderstorms for the overnight hours. Our low dropping to about 65, and then we have a chance of afternoon thunderstorms again on Wednesday, mid-80s. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
I remember to this day the bright red Georgia clay and how it stuck to the tires after the summer rain. Willpower.
Well, good report there from Steve, and hopefully we get some of those thunder showers. We've had some good rain as of recently, but we can always use more. So hopefully we get some more rain this week. Sounds like we got a chance for that, and it's going to be a little cooler down in the 80s on Wednesday, he said. So looking forward to these fall days. I am anyway, and I told you earlier that I like all four weather patterns we get. You got spring, summer, fall, and winter. I kind of like all four of them, so I look forward to it as we go in from one to the next, and now we're going into the fall. And the cooler weather, we get some rain, which is something we really need in our part of the country, and so excited about that possibility. Also excited about all that we got going on with the sports, and so encourage you to be involved wherever that may be, wherever your passion is at, whether it be soccer or volleyball or football or cross country or FFA and 4-H up at the State Fair. Hopefully you're able to be a part of those things. Friday night we will have audio only, the football game here on KSVP Radio and KSVPTV.com. It just will be audio only. Rio Rancho is one of the schools that we are unable to take our cameras to because they have other contracts and other things. So, but we'll have audio only, and so tune in if you can't make it. Of course, I encourage everybody, go to the games, go support these young men, their coaches, the cheerleaders, the band, everybody that's part of the football program and all sports programs. Go to the games if you can. But if you're somewhere else in the world, or if you're or you just can't travel, you can't make it to these out-of-town games, of course, we're blessed to have Pecos Valley Broadcasting Company that puts these games on for us. And so you can tune in right here on the radio or on any of our, KSVPTV.com or any of the social media pages for KSVP Radio. And that game will be there starting at 7 p.m. Friday night. But don't be surprised when you turn it on or you flip onto Facebook or you go to YouTube or you go to KSVPTV.com. Now, you won't be surprised at all if you're listening to the radio because that's all you're going to get is audio. But all the other channels, audio only. So we'll bring that game to you Friday night. Of course, you got a lot of other choices to choose from this week, and maybe you can be at all of them. Encourage you to do that and support the young men and women of our high school. I want to take a minute just one more time to thank Gene Dow and remember him and his wife and her mother during this time is facing some health issues. And so Gene is out. He asked me if I would step in, and I'm blessed to get to do that. It's been a great morning so far, and I hope you have a continued great morning and a great day. And as far as I know, I will be back tomorrow. It could be Gene, but if it's me, I'll see you tomorrow. If not, tune in the morning at 7 a.m. for Good Morning Artesia right here on KSVP Radio and KSVPTV.com. Thanks, and have a great day.
Holy guacamole! The best guacamole in the Pecos Valley is at La Fonda Restaurant in Artesia. Holy guacamole! Everything is coming in fresh by the truckload. Avocados, green chilies, jalapenos, tomatoes, and onions. The makings of our signature salsa, golden fried chili rellenos, and of course our guacamole. Holy guacamole, what are you waiting for? La Fonda Restaurant, 210 West Main in Artesia, with plenty of parking off Highway 285. Holy guacamole!
Hawker & Sons of Artesia, a company specializing in excavation and construction, is proud to support and provide construction services to the people and businesses of Eddy County and the surrounding area. With their expert knowledge of the industry, Hawker & Sons is well equipped to offer top-level service and professionalism to all oil field businesses, commercial and private parties with excavation and construction needs. Call Hawker & Sons today at 575-365-3175 or visit their website at hawkerandsons.com. Go Bulldogs!
PVG gives you a smarter home with PVG security and